Welcome to the Futsal First Podcast, and I'm your host, Jose Galindo. Today, we're stepping off the court and looking behind the whistle for an exclusive chat with referee and former Socceroo Phil Trianides. Phil, a highly respected referee in the Western Australian futsal and football landscape. Join us to share what it's really like to call the shots on game day, from heated moments to quiet decisions that shape the game. Phil gives us an honest, behind-the-scenes look at a role that's often misunderstood but absolutely essential. So whether you're a player, a coach, a supporter, or just curious about what goes on behind the black kit, stick around. We are asking some tough questions, and I'm expecting some honest, enlightening, and informative answers. Welcome, Phil, to the Futsal First Podcast.
Thank you.
Now, before we go on to your referee origin story, can you provide us some information about your history, your playing history?
Yeah, look, it's been long in the tooth now, being 59. But a long time ago, when I was 17, I got asked to go to Preston Lions. Back then, it was Preston Macedonia Soccer Club, as a goalkeeper. And 9 months later, being in the reserves for a little while, the New Zealand national team keeper was the first team keeper. Richard Wilson, his name was, from New Zealand, been to a couple of World Cups.
Yep.
He was first team. There was another guy, Potter, was a second string, and I was third. I was just in the resis, under 18s. No problem. Eventually, after about 8 months, 9 months, I had a chance. The two boys had an argument. The coach wasn't happy with both of them, and he's gone, Phil, you're playing next week. Now, I was just short of 18 years old. Played, had a good game, fine, but then got dropped the next week. And he said, justifiably so, he said, well, New Zealand national team keeper, you're not even 18. So we got to give him another chance, but we had to show him that he's not impregnable, and he was a bit of a loose cannon as well. But anyway, so I got my chance at that point in time. So a month or two later, he made a few more mistakes. I got another chance, played a couple of games, got dropped again, which again, fine.
Yep.
I was the third string. I was just happy to be at the club, let alone playing. But he then had a bust up with the coach. He left, and 196 games later in a row, which is still a National League, and I'm pretty confident A-League record of playing league games in a row. Ended up playing 256. It's about 12-ish years, 12 or 13. So 196 in a row.
This is at the highest level?
At the highest level.
A-League,
A-League equivalent, so National Soccer League back then. Michael Petkovic.
I played with Michael Petkovic.
Yes, goalkeeper as well. He was going to beat me. And about 2 games before that, he got a trial in Germany. So I was very happy.
I can see the smile on your face now. But I can only imagine back then when that happened.
And I know Michael, and I've seen him down at Coburn quite a few times, and we have a laugh. But he would have beaten me. But the guy who held it was Bugsy Niskahus, who was a centre back for Adelaide City. And he played 195 games in a row, which is amazing. As a centre back, never sent off, never injured for that length of time, which is staggering. And he was a fantastic centre back. So yes, so that was my claim to fame for the from a A-League, National League perspective. I got a call up from Frank Arrock at some point in that time. Again, some people might know him as our national coach from a while ago, and got caught up in the Socceroos. I got one cap against Moscow Torpedo, and I've got a photo. I brought in a photo of it, which I'll show you later, Jose. I've got the tracksuit on the wall at home.
Oh, okay. Well, yes. All right. Please send that through.
Yeah, and I only wear it. I wear it out only when the Socceroos are playing. So if they were playing in Melbourne or wherever I was, I'd wear it out and support the team. So that's my claim to fame. As I mentioned before, I was in the Joeys that went to Russia. I was a third string keeper then. So again, as 17, 18-year-old, I was under 21 at this. Might have been under 21. And so I stayed in Melbourne. The other two went to Russia, so I missed out then. But that leads me, I did want to mention, because one thing that gets brought to me several times, especially from young kids playing, be it futsal or football, in fact, any sports, I never represented Victoria at any level, under 12s, 13s, 14s, 15s, 18s, not once. I never made one state squad. I made the squads, the training squads, but I never represented my state. And people get all tied up in a knot, whether it's futsal, whether it's AFL, whether it's whatever. You get these kids representing their states, but inevitably they're bigger kids. They've grown early. They're bigger, stronger. Yet all the kids that were in front of me in these state squads never played 256 games in the National League, never represented their country. And that's something I pass on to young kids. I just go, if you want it, you got to love it and train and work exceptionally hard. But don't get disappointed if you don't make a state team. Don't, because it's not the end of the world. And I'm proof it's not the end of the world.
Yep.
And I've got a couple of records to show it's not the end of the world. Yet I missed them all because I was actually quite skinny. I was tall but skinny. And these other guys who were 15 years old, they were 6'2" and they were shaving and they were big hairy blokes back then. But we were only skinny. So kids develop differently. Yeah. And so it's a big story I pass on to many kids that I talk to who get disappointed and I never made the state squad and I missed. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter when you're 13, 14, 15, 16.
Well, as a coach, we all know that players develop at different rates, physically, mentally. So, and look, you're obviously proof in the pudding that that's the case. And one thing I will add, you mentioned quite a few times you're the third string, you're the second string, but that's not easy because you have to be ready for when your chance comes.
That's right.
And you have to be resilient. You have to be mentally strong. And when that chance comes, that's not when you start working to be ready. You've got to be ready.
Well, I suppose if you speak to even golfers and other sporting, you've got to love your sport. Whether you get selected, not selected, whether you're ready, not ready, you're probably going to be playing the sport regardless. So you got to love it. Now, if you're playing just to get selected, and if you don't get selected, you give it up, you're probably not right for that sport because the kids who play love it. And golfers are outrageously committed because it's such a small playing field to get to the top. But soccer's not going to be any different, or football or futsal. If you don't love it, you're in it for the wrong reason. If you're there for just to get accolades, you're probably not going to make it unless you're gifted beyond belief.
Yeah.
So you got to love it.
Makes it hard to sustain if you're just there for the positives.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, there will be, as we know, there are negatives that happen. There are situations that...
Port Melbourne, 16 years old, we lost 17-1. I was in goal. I was 16 years old. 17-1.
I always say the best team for a goalkeeper to be a part of is one that gets where they see a lot of action.
That's right. So 17-1. So how disappointing is that? But again, you take a knock and you get back up. You take a disappointment, you get back up. I was 18 or 19 years old, and we're talking now 30-odd years ago, and I was one of few. In fact, I was probably the only one in my team I know at Preston, in fact, probably in the whole league, that I saw a sports psychologist. I paid money and saw a sports psychologist.
Back then, that would have been groundbreaking.
And that was more for the elite players, the elite sports, soccer, futsal, just ridiculous. What are you doing that for? You're weak. You're stupid. What do you need that for? Aren't you hard enough? Aren't you man enough? Aren't you? And I'm just thinking, you all missed the boat, you guys. Because if the best in the world do it, and so I sought my own guy in Melbourne, and we did a lay down couch thing, and we did a preparation. We had, well, if your listeners will know what a cassette radio looks like with actual tape in it.
I know.
You know.
Yeah.
So, and we did a tape. We did a 2-hour tape. We did a 30-minute before a game tape. And again, it's a visualization. It's controlling emotions, controlling peak anxiety, understanding where you're at 6 hours before your game and 1 hour before your game. And I went through a whole visualization process of calming your nerves down. I mean, when I was in the National League, I could get away with I'd go 9 holes of golf, 8 o'clock in the morning. We kick off at 6 o'clock at night.
Yep.
But just to take away from 8 hours of thinking, because again, the anxiety that builds up and the mental stress and the tension, if you're there thinking and thinking and thinking, that's going to be counterproductive when you get to the last 45 minutes as you build up, where you'd actually drop a lot of focus away from everything external and you actually become quite inwardly focused on the game, the pitch, the surroundings, your teammates, and that focus has to become, and there's a process which you take to get to that point. And it's really impressive. And again, I would encourage it, but I'm still looked at it quite weirdly saying, what for? Why do you do that for?
That was ahead of your time.
Well ahead.
And I look, you've got to put things in the player's perspective because, look, when you are a field player and you're more involved in the action at all times, constantly moving around the field, whatever the case may be, it's a little bit different. But a goalkeeper, you're standing there and there are long periods of time where you aren't seeing the ball.
That's right.
And so from your point of view as a goalkeeper, I can see how that would have been very valid and very important to help you prepare for a game.
And that's something like when I listen, and again, I've seen it with football and futsal coaches, and I can probably heard you say that a couple of times too down at the Wolves.
Okay.
Screaming at your goalkeeper saying, talk to your players, organise your players. Now, what frustrates me with that, and that's, again, all coaches do it, they scream at their goalkeeper, yell at your defenders. Yeah, but yell what?
Oh, no.
Scream what?
Don't yell. Just
Say what? But what are the actual nuts and bolts of what he has to say? And it really frustrates me because there's a perception that screaming at your defenders works. And you see it on TV, keeper stands up and he berates his defenders. Now, I'd never do that because most of the time at that level, they know they've made a mistake.
Yes. Yep.
Therefore, your problem is the next ball, the next cross, the next something, and they need to be lifted up quite quick. And so when I hear the screaming stuff, you can't stand. But again, it's about organising, about telling goalkeepers what to say and when to say it. So instead of saying, Jose, just say Jose's you're my centre back, and I go, Jose, pick up number 16. Now, I look at that and go, well, number one, Jose doesn't know where number 16 is. He's now got to find number 16.
Yep.
But he's trying to watch the ball. Now he's got to find number 16. So me screaming rubbish at him will either put him off, take his eye off the ball, as opposed to me saying something like, Jose, you're left 5 metres. And you glance left, that's it. That's the end of the conversation.
Yep. Agreed.
That's the critical information that goalkeepers need to tell defenders. I've heard them say, pick up the guy with the long hair. Pick up number 16. It's just, it is ridiculous.
You'd have trouble nowadays differentiating
That's right.
which player would have the long hair.
So yes, I would love coaches to be a little bit more skilled in teaching their goalkeepers, not parroting cliches, but actually giving them information that defenders will actually use or need to use.
I agreed. And look, like you said, these players, they should know the game depending on what level they're playing at. And when they're being barked orders, whether it be from a goalkeeper or from a coach or from a spectator, as we know with the junior ranks, it just sort of takes away their own decision-making. They're very capable of making decisions, or they're going to learn from making those decisions, and you take that away, don't you?
Well, when I got to Perth, when I left Melbourne and came to Perth, I played at Stirling, Macedonia for a couple of years. Frank Arrock, who was
Can I just ask a question? All your teams seem to end with Macedonia.
Well, Preston, Macedonia. Well, I am Macedonian. I got my foot in the door, but hopefully over the last 12 years there, I proved that I could stay there anyway. And there was plenty of guys who tried to come and went. So we all get a break in life, and maybe that was mine. But when Frank Arrock came here, ex-national team coach, he started Perth Glory Academy, junior academy, very early. This was in the very early beginnings when Perth Glory started. He came across, they got him to start a junior academy. And again, another little story which it goes towards a lot of parents and the parents' influence on a kid. And one of Frank's written things that he got all the parents to sign, the kids who got selected, the parents had to stand 50 metres away from any training field. They could have no verbal impact on training or games. They could encourage, but that was the end of it.
Yep.
And at one of the qualifying sessions with these kids, these 12-year-old kids, they had, I won't name the name, but it was a well-known soccer coach in Perth. His brother had a child there, and the kid was quite good. He was actually very good. But the dad was going, man on, someone on your right, someone on your left, and he was barking these little orders. And the kid was outstanding. Good, he passing the ball around. And then Frank tapped me on the shoulder and said, Phil, can you go tell him to keep quiet? If he doesn't, his kid's out. End of story. And so I went over and said, excuse me, sir, you need to stop talking or we'll have to remove your child. Dad stopped. The kid was terrible. Wow. It was that confronting that Dad was playing for the kid. I know we spoke about earlier parents and that getting involved. And Frank Arrock, he knew this. He's probably seen this a million times. But the parents, I don't know, living through their kids or that sort of thing, they think they're helping, but at the end of the day, he crucified that child because the child was nothing without him barking orders. And that's probably been going on for 5-6 years.
Which has affected his development.
Completely.
Decision-making.
Completely.
Perhaps confidence.
Yeah.
Not knowing what his dad's going to think after the game's finished.
All of that.
All those things.
The trip home in the car, who's going to be talking, who's going to be crying.
That's going to be a great podcast when I do that one.
It's a horrible one. So parents have got to know when to be parents, not coaches.
But it's a funny one because, I mean, there's, you read plenty of stories. And one that sort of comes to mind at the moment is if your kid was learning to do maths or was learning how to spell or was learning long division, we wouldn't be sitting there screaming at them and it would be very different. It would be a very nurturing, constructive environment, you would hope.
Yeah.
You would hope.
You'd hope.
And yet you put them on a soccer field as an example and other sporting fields and things change.
Dramatically.
It's very primal, isn't it? It becomes very...
Yeah.
Yeah, really good point there.
It's worse in the because I'm a member at Royal Fremantle Golf Club, and it's unbelievable the parents that are making their little 8-year-olds hit balls, and they look miserable. You're going to be the next Tiger Woods. God, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, we digress.
Yeah, we digress.
We digress,
which is always fun. Always fun. Actually, I will say one more story. I saw something on social media the other day about Wimbledon, and a player was about to serve, and someone popped a champagne bottle. It was complete silence. Someone popped the champagne bottle, and the referee had to say, "Hey, no more champagne bottles, please." And everyone laughed in the crowd, and the player wasn't able to serve. And I think something as small as that affected her performance. And here we are, these kids being yelled at and screamed at, and all these forms of input coming in. Yeah, tricky.
Well, you mentioned that with Warren Spink, who used to play in the Socceroos. He said when they went to one of the South American countries, he got asked by, at that time, Frank Arrock again, the coach, he got asked to go warm up. Now they're playing against, I don't know, one of the South American countries. And as he stepped out of the cover where all the players sit, the bench there, he stepped out and he got bombarded with a whole pile of things. Potatoes, it's just things they were throwing at him. And he couldn't even do his warm-up.
Hopefully they were patatas bravas.
And then he jumped back in and he go, but again, that's what players have to deal with.
Yep.
That's the anguish they have to deal with. So it's
so you can deal with those external factors when you have developed.
Yes.
And you're at that level and you've gone through, but when you've been having those other inputs, then I think it affects your development, which then will affect how you deal with these external stimuli, such as potatoes.
I mean, that happened to me once at
potatoes
at Sydney Olympic was a big one there. We actually had quite a bit of crowd problem, which I mentioned before, and I was in goal, no problem. There was Olympic supporters, probably 1,200 supporters behind me up in Sydney, and the Macedonian supporters on the left side of the field, the 2,000 of them, and they were pretty vocal. And a shipping flare got thrown onto the field right next to me, a big one, a lot of smoke. I threw it back behind myself, and then the smoke started to grow and grow in the goal mouth. At that time, our 2,000 supporters saw what happened, and then they started wandering over towards the Sydney Olympic supporters. And then in the corner of the field, it began. There was some brawl going on. There was police in there. There was all sorts of things going on. The smoke got me. The whole goal got covered in smoke because the flare was still going. Referee stopped the game. I ran out of the smoke towards the tunnel, but it was crazy. The players are saying, we lost you. We lost you in the smoke. We didn't think you were ever going to appear again.
Is that right?
So it was an intense time back then, but that's all sort of stuff is finished now.
Wow.
It's very, very few and far between.
Jeez. You know what? Again, that's another podcast we can go into, how things have changed from that perspective. All right. Now, the reason I ask about your playing career, it sounds like you've had some experience at a high level, yeah?
A little bit.
I'm sure we'll delve back into it. But the reason I ask you about that is my question, and obviously we're here to talk about refereeing and your experiences and your thoughts and opinions. Have you ever been questioned by players or fans or coaches about your, not knowing your history, about your level of football
knowledge
experience?
Yep.
Has that ever happened?
The ones who...
And how do you answer
it? Look, it's a common phrase used by players. They go, you've never played the game before, mate. Not necessarily to me, but to any of the referees. They go, oh, well, that's why you're a referee, because you never played the game. Now, my response, whether it's right or wrong, and you use it sparingly, but I just go, listen, mate, Google me, and you'll find out.
That's a flex. That's a big flex.
It is. It is.
Google me. Wow.
And so, but there's enough people around that they're aware of what I've done, and therefore it feeds back to some players. Most players don't know who you are. And again, you don't use that as a, look, mate, I know best. But sometimes when it does get a bit out of hand, you could card the person. You can give a yellow card, you can give a red card. I could react quite by the book. But as a player, I could sort of feel maybe their tension. Maybe I have made a decision they don't like. And so they're pissed off. And so they just go, you got no idea what you're doing, mate. Now maybe the less experienced referee might just go, boom, yellow. And he goes on, yellow, red. And now we've changed the course of the game over a few words.
Yep.
Now if I respond back to him saying, mate, Google me, but I don't card him, and I don't red card him or yellow card him, I've kept him on the field. Hopefully I've de-escalated. Yes, I vented a little bit. He's vented a little bit. Guess what? We move on.
Yep.
There's a lot of winners there in that scenario. But if I go bang yellow, bang red, which I've always got the option, and I can be the big hero and go boom, boom, boom. And that doesn't help. It doesn't help anyone, really. And it could trigger again, critically, it changes the course, potentially the course of a game, just because you were I've reacted to something that you've said. So
you've actually brought a question up that I was planning to ask later on, but I'll ask it now because it's a good time, I think. So someone once told me that a good referee is one that you don't notice.
Yeah, again, that's a cliche. My job is to be noticed because the job of the players is to get away and cheat and bend and manipulate because their job's to win.
Yep.
End of story. For their sponsors, for their club, for themselves, for their win bonus. They're putting bread on the table for their families. They're putting their kids through school. Their job is to manipulate and bend every single rule possible. And I respect that. My job is to catch them. I catch them. They then move on. We break the next one, and I catch the next one, and then break the next one. I'm there to balance the game between two teams. If they're playing nicely, you don't hear from me.
That's an interesting viewpoint. So you're actually expecting them to do everything they possibly can.
I'd be disappointed. Fine, if we're playing 4th division socials, we're here for a good time, bit of exercise. I don't expect that level of intensity. But if we're playing NPL or A-League, absolutely I expect that. Therefore, once we cross that white line, there's the perception of me being friends, but that's really more, that's just something polite that we go through. I'm there to catch you. I'm there to make it even for both teams, and that's the level of respect that should be acknowledged. Because you're not here to, I mean, we're not going to go out to the movies after the game, me and any of the players. So I think that's the beginning of respect. Whether we have a relationship beyond that on the field, maybe, but only maybe. Because again, the way players are, you got players who scream and yell, trying to manipulate you, and then you try to get players who they want to be your best mate. Oh, they one guy who swears at me. Okay, pull your head in, mate. Not required. Definitely not going to help you.
Yeah.
But then one guy will say, "Oh, that's a great decision, ref." I go, "Mate, I don't need you to tell me that's a great decision. I don't need you to be my best mate."
You actually tell them. You'll
Absolutely
go out of your way. You won't just accept the compliment.
No.
You will go out of your way.
Absolutely. Because there's no requirement for it, because their expectation is, again, I say something, they say something nice, which means 2 minutes later they can have a go at you. Of saying, I've complimented you, now I've got permission to have a go. I'm saying don't do either. You play and I'll referee. Let's leave it at that. And that's how players try to manipulate you. And it may work on referees. It may work on some referees, but our job is to remain unbiased, genuinely unbiased. If you get sucked into he's really nice, but he's really nasty, then the perception you might give him something and him not. And therefore, there's the line in the sand.
Yeah.
Let's play.
Agreed.
So don't scream at me. I'll catch you. Move on. And the best players are like that. They're pretty much focused on what they're doing. They try to get away with stuff. You catch them, they get up and move on. They don't scream, they don't yell, they don't complain.
Don't take it personally.
They move on to the next scenario and move on to the next one.
I've got one for you. What about when players try and give you instructors, like i.e., ref, card, or you see that all the time, opposition players running up to referees.
Yeah, like
showing
the card, the showing of the card, the VAR symbol, like the TV symbol. Again, part of the rules, part of the laws, it does say using that symbol or showing the yellow card symbol or using the VAR symbol too much, there's a word they use, that showing it a lot is an unsporting conduct yellow card offence. So you trying to get someone booked, you saying, I want a yellow card, you yourself could be booked.
Is that right?
Because that's deemed as unsporting.
Have you ever done that?
No. You give him a mouthful and you say, pull your head in, because we know, look, if you have played the game, you know that someone who's asking for another player to get booked is really a low-level thing. It's a low-level act, which normally will be dealt with by the next tackle a few minutes later. Someone will see what you're trying to do, trying to manipulate the referee to book someone, and 5, 10 minutes, maybe half an hour later when there's a tackle coming in, that guy will be lined up by one of your tougher players and go through him, saying, mate, don't do that, because you're a bit of that's a dog act.
Yeah, I agree.
And therefore, you stepping in and pointing that out and saying, don't do that. Bad players do that. And once the other team knows that you've stepped in, you've probably saved that guy from a nasty tackle coming his way.
You've done him a favour.
I've done him a favour because I've stepped in. It might still happen if he's pissed the other team off enough. But if I've stepped in and gone, you're out of line, then maybe I've kept him on the park. Maybe. Because that's what happened in my day. I'll guarantee you that was going to happen. You do something silly like that, the tackle's coming in, my player's going to accept a yellow card, but he will he will go. He will tackle will be somewhere between chin and shoulder. So
I suppose that goes back to player manipulation, which we will get to later on. So now, Mr. Phil, question. How and when did you get into refereeing?
after in Melbourne, I got into a little bit. I got my level 4. You go through the process like most codes. There's a level 4, level 3, 2, 1, that sort of thing. And I thought, well, I'm not the big fan of coaching a team. I actually started a little goalkeeper training school when I got to Perth as well. So I did a bit of goalkeeper training. And again, that was enjoyable. But you never saw it was a long-term thing and you never really saw a result. And I thought, you know what? No one from the National League that I can see or remember or has ever tried to do the first full circle and get back to the National League refereeing. So I stopped playing at about 32, I think, and took up the refereeing. And I thought, well, I'll give this a go. Pays good money.
What was the time difference between you stopping playing and the decision that, hey, I'm going to give this a go?
A couple of years, if that. Because I did that goalkeeping training with Frank Arrock and that sort of stuff, and that was fun and enjoyable. But, you know, the other one was I missed being involved in the game. Body gave up and ACL and stuff like that. So I can't be involved, can't play. And I didn't want to be one of these guys who tape themselves up every Sunday morning and go play. So I thought, well, how can I still be involved? I'll referee. I'll get to as high a level as I possibly can, as fast as I can. And so I committed myself to it. And within probably 4 years, I was doing NPL in Perth. So, and Eddie Lenny, who was the refereeing director here, he said because he actually refereed me in the National Soccer League a few times. And he said there'll be one issue with you being a good referee, and that is you'll have sympathy for the players. You have sympathy for their position, for their actions, for their situation. And he goes, if you can overcome that, and I'll help, but if you can overcome that, your experience will be fantastic. But if you can't say, well, you're now here to apply a law and have no sympathy for the player, then if you could do that, you'll be fantastic because you actually know, you'll be thinking what players are thinking before they do it, before they speak, before that, because you've seen it, you've done it a million times. So therefore, that was, and it worked. And he was great. And like I said, I went through the ranks and been doing it ever since. Now I'm going down the other side of the hill at 59. I'm going back into the reserves and at State 1 and State 2 reserves because things are slowing down. Unlike yourself, Jose. You're a machine.
We'll move on from that comment. Now, was there a moment at any point during your refereeing career that was the moment, yes, I love this and I want to keep doing this? You'd made the decision, but what was the point where you fell in love with it?
Because once players realised your background, there was an immediate, this guy knows what he's doing. We can't bullshit this guy because he's seen it before. And I thought, now I've made an impact. Now, some people don't like that because they're trying to manipulate you, but you're sort of not manipulating, but you're a step ahead of most of these people. And therefore what they're trying to do, for instance, this delaying the restart of the game, wasting time, that sort of stuff. You're preempting that before they do it. And they don't like that. And so I turn up to some grounds and players look at me and they bow their heads. They go, oh, not this wanker again. Because it's harder to manipulate this they if you know what I mean. So with other ones, they go, oh, well, okay, no problem. If we have a go at him or do this or do that, he'll buckle. They go, oh, no, this guy's a bit too militant, but in a good way.
Yeah, in a fair way.
In a fair way. In a fair way. And unbiased
My experiences have been that you're very fair and just.
Mm.
you talk about time wasting, and that's something I want to cover later, but I'll bring that up now. So how much of an issue is that when it comes to keeping a game flowing? And
Well, look, it's what the public don't, and I'm a bit disappointed. This is a real, it's a stick in the mud when it comes to FIFA. Okay, if I was to tell you that, in fact, there was a recent example last night when state team played the Asian team over at Sam Kerr. There were no yellow cards handed out. It's friendly.
okay,
Now, there's a perception that in friendlies, hang on to the yellow cards a bit more and hang on to the reds and hang on. Let's just get the game through and not make it a. And as a result, the big centre back for the Asian team there, what he did was so unacceptable and so manipulative, and at best he got a talking to. Now, he was a centre back. He was in the middle of the park. They had a free kick. They wanted to take it quick. He bent down, picked the ball up and walked backwards with it, complaining that, the referee's going to just add some more time on. What are you complaining about, mate? And the referee told him off. He got back into position and we played on. He's delayed the restart. He's delayed the quick free kick. He was out of position. That's why he did it. The expectation from everyone was yellow card at least, but got nothing because we don't want the spectacle to look bad. Now, is that right or wrong? I think that's horribly wrong. But that player, what we said before, he's there to win.
yes,
I don't care if it's
Friendly
a friendly or
or
not. We're here to win.
Yep.
And he won that. And he didn't get a yellow. But he won that. Now, he already knows it's a friendly. He already knows how the referee's going to react. So he took advantage of it. Good luck to him, I say. But I would have carded him because I know the game. I know the game he's playing. Even though it's a friendly, he's not acting like a friendly game. He's there to win.
yes.
And that's my frustration, is that FIFA has a tendency to FIFA puts all these referees in a horrible position into a grey area when it comes to delaying the restart of the play. We see it all over the world. We do nothing about it. We don't give a yellow. No, we don't want to. FIFA says, we don't want you to hand out too many yellows. It spoils the game. So they put us into a management scenario. So does that yellow, is it justified? What's the state of the game? Is it 5-0? Maybe don't yellow card him. If it's 5-0, they're not going to win. If it's 1-0, probably yellow card him. Now, if he's already on a yellow and he kicks the ball away, even though there's no such thing as kicking the ball away, it's delaying the restart of the game. Okay. So even though he kicks it away, now do you give him a second yellow and change the course of the game, 10 against 11? Because FIFA says, well, don't do that. Don't do a technical second yellow because that's going to change the bigger picture of the game. And I go, that's not fair because I've booked him for the same thing here, yet I'm not going to book him for the same thing there because we're going to change the course of the game. Now referees are put into this quagmire of grey. And it's a huge thing and it happens all over the world. Why didn't he book him? Well, that's why.
It's a very subjective decision that you've been told to make, which will impact the game, but technically he's not right. Because if he didn't have the first yellow and he did that, then he would get a yellow for it.
He would get a yellow, 100%. But now we're giving him a technical yellow. And referees live in this line of fire every single game you adjudicate in, all over the world. And it's horrible. It's absolutely atrocious, which is why I'm a huge fan of the sin bin.
Wow.
Hockey does it. Outdoor hockey does it. Rugby league and union do it. And it works outstandingly for low-level technical breaches. For instance, maybe low-level dissent. Come running up and you'd be in my face and I just go 10 minutes, see Jose, 10 minutes, sin bin. Boom. Now, we change the course of the game for 10 minutes, but we don't change it forever.
Yep.
Or do I give you a second yellow red? and change the course of the game because they're the laws. Now, at the moment, if you're already on a yellow and you come screaming at me, I'm now going, do I change the course of the game?
But the players made that decision to do that.
Yes, but now I've got FIFA on my back going, Phil, semi-final World Cup, he gets a second yellow, he misses the final. Don't let him miss the final because Jose is the main player in the Italian team or Portuguese team. Sorry, what? Spanish team. So Jose's
Australian.
So he's the main player. And so there is that, hang on a minute. Jose, right, I give him I flap my arms and I give you a big formal verbal warning. But I'm well within my rights, second yellow red. And for the rest of your life, I have made you miss a final that you're never going to be in again. That's what I mean. Referees live in this atrocious grey area, which FIFA has put us in, because we only got yellow or red. Yet we live in the grey. We call it orange. We live in the orange world because, that second yellow, it could be red. No, we're going to give it an orange and a stern warning because we got nowhere to go because our rules don't let us. And that's atrocious. It's so bad, and that's why the public get upset because they go, hang on a minute, that's...
So what you're doing, there's always a balance, right? For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. So what you're doing to help that player, even though it is a yellow card, but there's an opposition team who is going to be seeing the complete opposite of the benefits of what you're discussing.
Absolutely.
Because they've got to still play against that player, although technically he or she could have been sent off.
And why isn't he? Because we're living in grey.
So at best, you'll be potentially liked by someone.
Yes.
But the complete opposite by the opposition.
And that's one of my biggest issues that I have with our game.
That's a big one.
Is that we choose not to go.
It's a big burden.
It's a huge burden that every referee in every single futsal, doesn't matter, it's all the same. The rules are nearly identical. Then they all live in this same area. And I know all the guys that I know in the futsal world here. And we all talking about the same thing. And we speak about that after a game. We go, you know what? I could have given him a second yellow. I could have given, Wolves player XYZ a second yellow. But it would have impacted the game.
You then become the protagonist.
Because he yelled at me too much. Okay, yeah, he swore at me or something like that. But I don't want to send him off because he's going to change the course too much over just one word.
But does that go back to what I mentioned, that cliche we talked about where a good referee is one that doesn't get noticed? See, if you do give the second yellow and you do make a decision which changes the game, then you become a protagonist or an antagonist, however you look at it.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you are participating and having a massive influence in the result of the game. So does it go back to that though? You don't want to be that noticed?
You don't want to be. And FIFA's encouraging us not to be. Don't change the course of the game. And that's a common training line. When it comes to technical breaches, be conscious of it. Be conscious of what you're going to do.
I'll ask you a question. So that's in relations to these, you've mentioned a semi-final, World Cup. Yep, fair enough. Big stage. How about a local game?
Yep.
Same player, like obviously different player, does exactly the same thing. Would you give him the second yellow in that game?
Me, no. But he has to have put himself in a position where he's stopped the team from an attacking movement. He maybe, and again, many people aren't aware of this, we break the field down into thirds. What happens in one third may not be a yellow, but it happens in the attacking third, it probably will be a yellow.
Yep.
Now, there's no rule that says that. That's a teaching. Don't impact the game up here. There's a stern warning. Give him a good bollocking in the defending third. If an attacker does something dumb, delays the restart, kicks the ball away, add more time on. Hey, give him a bollocking, add some more time on, everyone wins.
Bollocking. Okay.
But if it's in the final third and the defender brings down or kicks the ball away or something like that, and it's potentially got a goal attached to it, and there's something, there's four attackers against two defenders, and then he gets in the way and he's already on a yellow, yeah, he's got to go. He's got to go. It's attacking third thing. He's definitely stopped the game from restarting.
You're removing the flair, the excitement, the attack.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's on a yellow, and I'll go to play it, and he steps across and he kicks it away. Oh, you got to go. You have to go.
Yeah.
The expectation of everyone has to go. If it's in the defensive third, people will complain, but there's still so much football to go before a goal could get scored.
Yep.
But see, everything that I've just explained is grey.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And that's what makes it, if you get a referee who's rule-based, off. Second yellow red, see you later. Make it real simple.
Yep.
Players will learn.
Black and white.
That's the attitude. Players will learn if we do it. And the most classic example is, which is changing next year, is the 6 seconds by the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I saw that.
Now, there's been leagues around the world where keepers have held onto it for 25 seconds and nothing's happened. Players are going mental. Coaches are going, the losing coach is losing his mind, screaming at the referee. That looks ugly. Everything looks ugly.
And they don't hide it. I mean, I remember there was an Everton-Liverpool game. Liverpool needed the win.
Yeah.
Obviously chasing the title, and the Evertonian goalkeeper, he would not only grab it, but then he would lay down on the floor.
All of that.
In a very obvious movement.
Very obvious.
And I'm like, geez, here we are at the top level.
That's right.
Being broadcast all over the world,
Yep.
and this guy is
Because
taking the piss.
the instruction to the referees is manage that situation. Tell him to hurry up. Wave your hand in the air. But the player's not changing. He's not doing anything different. He's marginally going. So he just waves him on. Now they're changing it next year. Now it's going to be 8 seconds. And if he hangs on to it for 8 seconds, we've got to hold our hand up and count. After 3 seconds, we hold our hand up showing 5 seconds to go.
Yep.
And we count our fingers down like futsal.
Yep.
And we count our fingers down. If he doesn't throw it, it's a corner. Where before, we're creating a rule for a rule we never implemented, which is I'm staggered with. Because, again, I've been doing it for many years, and all my peers here laugh at me. They do laugh at me. And I just go, if I think the keeper's not made a save and he does one of those catches and collapses to the ground.
Collapses, yes.
Everyone gets up. If you're the losing coach, you go mental. Rev, how long is he going to take? Now, that's ugly.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm of the opinion, I simply go, call him, I go, keeper, and then I go 1. I'll show him my hand, I go 1, 2. It's a generous 6 seconds, but I go 1. 2. A player next to me, his teammate will scream out, hey, he's bloody counting. The losing coach sees me do it, so he's not going to yell now. He goes, now we're on the clock. So he goes, oh, it's being dealt with.
He's actually happy if the keeper takes too long because he gets
Absolutely.
the benefit.
He gets his indirect free kick in the box. And guess what? It's amazing how once they see you go counting, it's amazing how fast they get up.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They spring up to their feet and the ball's launched. But we've never done that. But now we're going to implement a rule because FIFA says that this rule, it's easier to restart a corner than to organise an indirect free kick, which can be messy with 22 players in there.
Yeah, in the box, yeah, for sure.
But my opinion is it won't get to an indirect free kick because you're counting.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
ball's going to get – every time I've counted, I've never caught someone because he can see it. His own players are screaming at him. Well,
you see it with futsal, right? Keepers have got 4 seconds.
Yep.
And you very, very rarely do you see a keeper hold on to it for longer than that. Obviously, if they do, it's a mistake and they get called.
Yes,
for
and
the kick.
futsal.
But usually the keeper's like straight away, everyone knows. And you know what? You get like as a coach, you start feeling almost a level of anxiety when your keeper's had it too long and you're going, why are you not getting ready to find a solution here?
And again, and Chris Colley is the one that sort of explained that to us when I got my futsal badge. And he goes, look, the 4 seconds is not in futsal. The 4 seconds, you're not there to catch them. 1, 2, 3, 4, gotcha.
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
not a gotcha scenario. It's a method to keep the game moving. And we count a generous. So when you might call out keeper, and then you begin. And your first arm action is to your chest, and then you go 1, and you bring your hand out, and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you come back to your chest.
Yeah.
So it's 5. You
Yeah.
know, we're not here to catch. We're here to get them going. So because it is a bit then awkward to organise an indirect free kick, and it's messy and it's difficult. So it's generous, but it's more to tell the coach, I've got this.
Yep.
And if the keeper's silly enough to do silly things, he gets a silly prize.
You're right. The fact that you're signalling it as a coach, when I see that, I don't have to worry about it.
No.
Because you've got that under control.
That's right. That's right. But in outdoor, you lose your mind. And it's ugly. The game looks ugly. Then we become this, we hide behind the word passion. We're passionate.
Yeah.
Well, rugby's passionate. They don't scream. They're not allowed to scream. Players don't scream at referees in rugby union or league. In hockey, field hockey, nothing. 0. Because they've already dealt with their dissent. Culturally, the umpire is sort of untouchable. Yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full, walk away. And but we seem to hide behind our game's passionate. Well, I think their game's pretty passionate too.
Yeah, for sure.
But we hide behind this word passion. And it's so wrong because that's why we don't have enough referees. Because we've got kids, 14, 15-year-olds getting screamed at by ugly parents and ugly coaches.
It's
horrible.
I mean, we will talk about the pathways and opportunities for referees later on, but just to touch on that, what are the stock levels of referees at the moment in relations to futsal and football?
Atrocious. We were at about 500 registered last year. Now we're less than 400.
But there's more games.
There's more games. The game's grown, especially in girls, outdoors specifically, but outdoor girls, I mean, probably futsal as well, because again, the Matildas and all that all stimulates both sides of the fence, but we're not helping them because we don't support the junior referee. Parents don't like to see a 14-year-old go to a game and now he's going to get screamed at and yelled at, and because our game's passionate. AFL dealt with it 2 years ago. They dealt with dissent. But it started at AFL, the equivalent to FIFA. So AFL said, right, you get a free kick against you, you flap your arms and yell at the umpire 50 metres. Just instant. He just blows his whistle 50. And that's a direct kick on goal. Most of the time, it's a shot for goal. So they did that 3 years ago. And in the first 3 or 4 weeks, there was probably 80 goals scored because players are trying to get used to it. But eventually they've just gone, stand there and keep quiet because it looks bad for the game when you're yelling and screaming, because that infects the 16-year-old umpire on the weekend. When the big guys are keeping quiet, that's how they act. This is how we're going to act. But if you have a look at the EPL, you've got players you've got the cameras on their face and they're going effing this and effing that to the referee, and you can see it, but nothing gets done. That's a red card. That's an immediate red card. You're effing this. Boom, red, gone.
Well, AFL,
but we tolerate it.
The 50 metres, right? I mean, in basketball, they've got the foul count.
Yep.
But we don't really have anything like a 50-metre rule or a foul count.
No. Futsal does, foul count.
A team foul count, which is great, but not individual.
No. We go to a yellow card. You do 1 or 2 or 3 fouls, depending on the severity.
The card really becomes the only tool that you have.
And that's fine for physical tackles or fouls. That's accepted. But if you scream at me, but you're already on a yellow, now I'm going to change the course of the game. We don't have a little tool that goes, Jose, 10 minutes, go sit down, chill out.
Sin bin or
free
kick 20 metres from where the
we
foul
tried
occurred.
Free kick to 20 metres, but outdoor football then created that as a delaying tactic.
Wow.
So if you're winning 1-0 and you're going to move it 10 metres forward, if it's already in the defensive third, You move it up, muck around, move it up, muck around. So see how you coaches
Wow.
manipulate the law to suit
I'm a
themselves.
futsal coach. I've not coached outdoor for a long time.
But yes, we tried that as well. But that's what, and that's their job. The coaches are there to manipulate the rule, and rightly so. As we said in the beginning, bend and break. And then you said, how would I change one? How would I change the game? I would dearly love the players to learn the rules.
We're going to get to that.
All right. We'll hold on that one.
Let's talk a day in the life of a referee. Okay. What's your pre-game, or do you have a pre-game routine like? It sounded like you had one for when you were playing. Do you have one as a referee?
It's from a mental preparation, it's not that different. You go through an anxiety curve, you build up to kickoff, therefore less thinking is better. We've got access to a streamer which gives first team games where you can access some video. If you're at the first team level, the streamer does it for a lot of different games, different sports nationally, and it's an okay service, but they do it, and you can access your game, and you can watch and review and look at other teams. And if you're doing those teams next week, if you're at the top level, if your reserves are under 18s, no, you don't. But you could speak to other referees. I saw you were doing that team last week. Any dramas, any issues, and he might go, yeah, look, this player did this and this player did that. Be aware of him, and therefore, when you go to the game, you could say, oh, Jose, last week you had a bit of an issue, did you, with X, Y, Z, or you did this. Now you'll go, hang on a minute, how do you know that?
Wow.
And so, you use your information that you can divulge from other referees and go, and then now you plant the seed in that player's head and go, hang on a minute, you did this last week, I'm aware of this now. And that goes on. And at the higher you go, like for instance, the A-League referees, they get what they call a team pack. It's called a team pack. They get a little presentation from FFA, and that will have access to videos of the two teams they're going to get, foul counts, yellow card counts, things like that, so they can do some pre-match assessment of these teams before they go referee. And that's common around the world anyway, at A-League national level.
Yep.
So that's a day in the life. And turn up to the game, you do your pitch inspection. I'm also an assessor as well, so I go out and teach referees as well, and I assess them and grade them and coach them, younger ones and older ones and all that sort of thing. So it can get very technical, which patterns of movement, where they run, how they're supposed to act, and where they position themselves on the field for certain things. And so it's no accident where the referees go and what they do. The lower level you go, the less that happens, but the higher level you go, the expectation rises dramatically. So turn up to the game, introduce yourself to the teams, the captains, the coaches. I'm a fan of talking to teams before a game. Most don't. In fact, all don't, because generally referees have a tendency to talk a bit of rubbish. They say things like, I'm the referee. I want you all guys to play by the whistle. And like we said at the outset, players don't care about you really. Really.
I've got to say, before you carry on, whenever a builder contacts me, and obviously I run a business in the construction industry, World of Plaster, and if they say to me, hi, my name is whatever, I'm a builder, my alarm bells are ringing. So, yes, I understand. As a player, I'm sure you don't have to announce that you're a referee when you're there in the uniform, right?
And you say, guys, play by the whistle, let's all have a nice, fair game. And now, let me take my referee hat on and put my playing hat on now. I listen to that and go, you're an idiot. Is this it? Because you're wasting my time. You're not telling me anything I need to know. You're telling me bullshit, actually, because I'm actually going to bend and break everything I'm going to try to do. I'm here to win.
So what do you say then?
So I've got the things we've touched upon, the things I actually do talk about, and that is, if you stand on the ball, you kick the ball away, I'm going to caution you. the high chance of me cautioning you, it's staggering. If I feel you've delayed the restart of the game. So when players say kick the ball away, that's actually not what I'm looking at. Because if there is another ball a metre away, if it's at the sideline, him kicking that ball away, but there's another ball next to you, means nothing because the ball's here.
Yep.
So does he delay the restart? When they say kicking the ball, Raf, you kicked the ball away. Well, but you guys weren't even ready to take a free kick.
Yep.
You were waiting for your centre back to get into the box first before you're going to kick it anyway. You've been doing it all game. So therefore, he's not done anything because he's not delayed because you're not doing anything. So what's he delayed? Nothing. If he's standing there and you're not doing anything, he's not delayed anything. So delaying the restart is the critical bit.
Yep.
But if you go there, there's a high chance that you get involved when you're not supposed to be there. So if you've made the tackle and you stand up and you walk back slowly, okay, you were there. And you're going back slowly and, okay, you want to be in the way a little bit. I can accept that as part of the game. But you see the player who runs from 10 metres away and goes, stands on the ball, oh, he's going to get cautioned.
Yeah, for sure.
He's got no reason to be there at all. And so I go, don't do it to me. I go, if you have to, I'm not saying don't do it. If you got to do it, do it. Because it's a professional part of the game. If you got to stop them taking the free kick, absolutely do it. But I'm going to caution you.
Yep.
So don't get upset with me. Don't flap your arms.
Very honest, isn't it?
I go,
But it's facts.
I know what you're doing. There's your yellow. You've done the right thing.
You're empathetic to why they're doing it.
Yeah.
You're explaining that to them.
So I go, boys, I can live with it. No issue with that at all. But just don't flap your arms and get upset. Because I know and you know what we're doing. So that one. We mentioned it before, foul throws. Okay, that's another thing I put because, and I use this exact example. In the World Cup, when you watch the World Cup, you probably see 1,000 foul throws in that month. Foot off the ground, they just drop it and they hardly put it behind their head. None get given. Now, there's no accident because FIFA says it's imperative to get the game going. Now, the throw-in actually is not part of the game. It's actually a method to get the game restarted. So they're the terms, a method to get the game restarted. So it's not part of the game. But it's an easy thing to penalise. So, again, the higher level you go up, so NPL, State 1, State 2, first team games especially here and all over the world really, they basically don't give foul throws. If you throw it one-handed 30 metres, they'll ping it.
Yep.
So it comes down to, are you just getting the game going? Have you got an advantage from a poor technique? So is his foot off the ground and I hurl it into the box 40 metres, I'm going to ping it because you're supposed to have your feet on the ground.
Yep.
But if you're dropping it 2 metres away and your foot's off the ground, who cares? Defenders are already on top of you. The game gets started. And that's why in the World Cup you see no one complain about foul throws.
Yeah, it's true. I've never seen a foul throw called.
Ever.
At that, World
That's
Cup
right,
level.
because
That
it's
level.
imperative that the viewing audience watches football. The product needs to look good. And, stopping Lionel Messi, he throws the ball in, his foot's 2 inches off the ground and go, no, sorry, foul throw. Oh, my God, he'll get killed.
Yeah, and once you call one, you better call
And
all
now
of
you've
them.
got to call. And you've raised an outstanding point. Once you call the first one, then 22 players are going to scrutinise every single. Now a lot of mental energy now is going to go into scrutinising a foul throw. The players are going to be going, rare foul throw. 20 people, rare foul throw. In my games, no one says that. I don't scrutinise the throw unless it's advantageous is the critical bit. And it's such a quieter game because players go, well, here to play. Let's play.
Yep.
And no one cares. I mean, I've had some horrible throws and you see the players go, oh, Phil, that's crap. And I'm going, I know, but let's play.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one's been affected. Get on with it because that's really a technicality that we don't want to go. And in juniors, I definitely don't do any. 12-year-olds,
That's where I
13-year-olds.
see the most in the juniors.
That's right.
Obviously not your games, but
But again, parents are paying money. Think about it. They're paying $200 a year, sometimes $1,200 a year.
I was going to say 200. Which club?
Yeah, I know. But that's a can of worms, but we won't go there. But parents are paying $250 a year to watch their kid play. I know there's going to be 30 foul throws because the ball's heavier than some of the kids. When they put it behind their head, they fall backwards. It slips out of their hands. Guess what? Next time, they let them throw it in. Keep your foot on the ground, ball further back, let the game play. Parents want to watch their kids play, not foul throws. Now, some coaches go, oh, well, they've got to learn. Okay, so we'll teach them, but we're not stopping the game. We'll talk to the kid. Next time, foot on the ground as best you can. Do the right thing. Let's encourage. Let's not turn over, because you could turn over 30 and we lose 10 minutes of a game because we're stuffing around with foul throws.
Could be very disruptive.
Disruptive, parents not happy. Yeah, some coaches screaming out, ref, that's got to be a foul throw. I said, mate, you need to get over it. What's our philosophy? What are we doing here with 12, 13-year-old kids? Let's let them play. We only got half an hour. Let's manage it. Now, if you get a junior referee who's very new, that's an easy thing to pick up. His foot's off the ground, it's got to be a foul throw. Whistle, boom. But that's a junior referee, and that's where players use this word consistency. Oh, the refs aren't consistent. Well, you run a plastering business. I'm sure there's some exceptional plasterers, and there's some junior plasterers who are not that exceptional. Why are they inconsistent? Why is there lack of consistency? Well, that's experience. And I'm sure that's in every industry, not just.
Oh, that's correct.
So therefore, when players go, oh, right, you guys aren't consistent. And I go, well, you guys are different sizes, different abilities, different speeds. Angle of attack from everyone is different. So we've got an imperfect, changing dynamic. Every time two bodies come together, that's not consistent. So I'm trying to overlay a set of FIFA laws onto an inconsistent product that you guys are producing, angles, speeds, just all those dynamics. And I'm trying to give a set of rules to try to make some element of consistency, but the product itself is inconsistent. So it's hard, really hard. And that's where we have your opinion, my opinion.
It's a really good way to put it.
So, and players go, yeah, but.
Sounds like you know what you're doing.
Well, have we got that? Have we got that in writing? Have we got it on video? I'm on tape now. So
I'll have to make sure I edit it. I'll edit that out. No, definitely. Sounds like you know exactly. So you talk to them about free throws. You talk to them about obviously time wasting. What about diving? I'm going to give you one. What about diving? That's a big one. Not in futsal.
Yep.
But in football,
still happens in futsal.
Well,
yeah.
Okay.
No,
maybe let's talk about diving in futsal then.
No. Look, there's plenty when pro futsal was in full swing. There's plenty of guys that were exceptionally good at milking a free kick, exceptionally good. And some you'd look at it and you go, that's a penalty or a free kick, because they're so good at hanging their leg out, putting their foot in between the defender's legs and going down. They're the ones that generally get a reputation. Then as the referees talk and understand, you find that, again, you try not to preempt a player. A good referee will try not to preempt. Call a foul on its merits, or a dive on its merits, or a simulation on its merits. But it's so difficult if you're not a real experienced referee and you've heard about Jose who's diving every single week, then you know what? I'm not going to give him anything. And that's not fair.
I didn't dive. I definitely crunched players.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I was a centre back.
But if you've got to try not to preempt that, but when a player does happen to start milking a free kick, if there's genuinely no contact, really it's got to be a yellow card. So that's
For the diving.
That's simulation. Out and out.
That's a hard one to call, though. You don't see that very often.
No, because players become very good at it. Because they've been taught, they've been coached. If you're going to go down, that final step of whichever leg, put it across the defenders and go straight down. Step across their path ever so slightly. And so we then get educated who initiated the contact.
Yeah.
That's critical. Because if you once you understand how defenders are running and strikers are running, you've got to see who that striker's leg, does he take 6 inches to the left? And then knowing when his heel comes backwards, it's going to court the shin on the defender and he goes down. Well, who initiated that?
Let's face it, that takes a lot of concentration.
Heaps of angle, concentration, position.
Understanding, and you need to be paying attention.
A lot.
Well, there's no zoning out.
No. And that's where the good players relying on a less experienced referee to get away with it. And that's the game. What we said, the very first thing we said, get away with everything until you get caught.
Yeah.
And my job is to catch everything and don't let them get away with it.
I'm gonna add to this point. So, diving, player goes down, you have zoned out for a moment, or you're not sure because you're not. We'll talk about VAR later on.
Yeah.
You haven't got access to that because it's a local game, as an example. But the opposition or the team of the player who went down carries on like pork chops, penalty,
Yeah.
but you haven't seen it.
Play on.
So regardless,
That's if you've not seen it, you can't call it. You might have turned your head away. You might have just looked at the goalkeeper or another defender just as that tackle was coming. You might have something's caught your eye that you've taken it off and come back and gone, oh, I missed it. And they're complaining, boys, sorry, I missed it. Sorry, this defender was in my way. I couldn't see it. If you didn't see it, all you can say is, sorry, I didn't see it. Okay, everyone's going to say, yeah, but how could you not see it? Well, someone could have come across your path, which happens. Players run across your vision. If they time it right, and that's why your positioning is critical, because you're anticipating your position based on where players are moving. Therefore, you need to keep on moving to keep angle on the ball. So you might have been distracted by something. Who knows? Someone might have thrown a punch back here. You've just glanced and looked back and go, oh, I missed a tackle. You shouldn't.
Oh, it happens.
But it happens.
Imagine.
And the quicker you go, sorry, boys, I couldn't see it, then what else can the players do?
I'm going to add to that. So everyone's carrying on like pork chops, penalty. You didn't see it, so your decision would normally be to. But the defending team or the player, you see looks of guilt on them, or their body language shows that, oh shit, this is a penalty. But you didn't see it.
There is now it's a dangerous game you play. Have we all played it? Yes, we have. Reactions from defenders and attackers. Normally who screams the loudest first is probably lying. Lying.
Okay.
Because the innocent have not done anything wrong. The guilty are claiming something. So he goes down, ref, penalty. And the defender's going, but hang on a minute.
If the defender doesn't looks innocent,
he looks innocent,
doesn't say anything,
and then what you've seen gels with this reaction, or you've got other players, maybe players from behind you, just scream. And you go, well, hang on, who's milking who now? Because they all screaming because that person went down. They're going to scream regardless. And that was the third thing I talk about actually in two of my teams. I don't want anyone from behind me. I look really darkly at people screaming from behind me. If I'm closer, anyone behind me is not involved. So don't let me hear you from behind. If I'm 20 metres away and you're 50, e.g. a goalkeeper who's 70, and he's screaming, ref, that's a bloody penalty, I'll probably caution him.
Okay.
Because that's dissent.
Just to teach him.
He can't see anything. So, and that's, again, a horrible part of our game. We've got too many people screaming at the referee to try to influence. They're going to try to stop that next year again, having a captain thing going on. But
I agree with the captain thing. I think the captain should be the only one that discusses with the referee. I do agree with that. What are your thoughts?
Law 3.10, I'm pretty sure it's that. Players, e.g. the captain. The captain has no special rights or privileges and has some degree of responsibility for the conduct of his team. That's the law. The captain has no special rights or privileges and has some degree of responsibility for the conduct of his players.
I'm just going to say, you don't have a book in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
You've named the actual law.
Yep.
How?
You read it during the season. You read it every week. You read the book every week.
You must have a good memory.
It's not difficult.
You must have a good memory.
Well,
to remember. You said it 30 seconds ago. I can't remember what number it was.
Yeah. The passages again. Once you're doing it, I'm sure when you go out, put some plaster on the wall, you know what you're doing. So a good referee is obliged to know the rules and be updated all the time with the most current version, the most current interpretations. And again, the law says the captain has no special rights or privileges.
But that'll change with this new rule, right?
Well, that doesn't, it only changes marginally, but you got to, the manipulation of you coaches and you captains, and that is the captain, normally the winning captain.
Don't group me in with everybody else. I'm a special case.
The captains have a tendency to they want everything explained and they want to have a talk to you, especially when their team's winning. Why? Because they want to delay the game. They want to slow the game down. Whenever they're losing, captain doesn't want to have a bar of you. So that's why FIFA has, you talk to me, but I'm happy that we've given this direction to captains. Only the captain can speak, but the captain better pick and choose his time where it doesn't impact on the game. Because I'm not talking to you if it impacts, especially if they're losing, and if the ball's gone out 30 metres away, you can talk to me. You got about 10 seconds. Yep. But if the game's in play, I'm not listening. Period. Yep. I'm not here to entertain a conversation. Oh yeah, but I'm the captain. I can talk to you. Actually,
but there must be a way, like a classroom. If a student wants to talk to a teacher, they put their hand up, and then the teacher says, "Yes, Phil. Yep. What's the question?"
Again,
surely there must be a system like that in place.
And no, there's not. And therefore, the game has said, "Well, I'm the captain. I can talk to you." Well, actually, the law says you can't. You've got no special rights. If you want to be like that, I want to talk to you. I said, well, no, you can't. So now we're setting there's our boundary. You want to talk to me? When you're losing, come and talk to me. No chance at all. It's never happened. You know what I mean? So it gets manipulated, and therefore the players walk around thinking, well, I can talk to you. No. If you need to, be selective. With me, be real selective. I'm not here to have conversations with you or explain. I'm here to say, you caught his ankle, that's it. You pulled his shirt, that's it. You've pushed him in the back. What more do you want told? Or the captain comes up and goes, well, hang on a minute, that one is not the same as that one, not the same as that one back then. Now you're wasting my time. Yep. Now we're comparing over 20 minutes, 6 different fouls. I don't know. I can't remember. And I'm not here to have that conversation.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's the manipulation. There's your manipulation. Because captains do that. Oh, ref. Can you please explain? I go, really? We're playing NPL here. Please explain.
Keep the game moving, right?
Let's get going.
So they're the discussions you have with him. Very real discussions. No nonsense.
Those 3 points I mentioned, players respond to it because it has a direct impact on the game. They're very clear cut. It's things that frustrate them. Wasting time standing on the ball, because the good players can't stand the player who stands on top of their ball. I want to play, ref, look at this guy. What are you going to do about it? I wanted to go and now I can't. And now you're just going to tell him off. So he's won. Who am I paying money to go watch? I want to watch Messi play, take a quick free kick. Yep. And now he's been denied by some knucklehead. And you've just paid £50 or $100 to go watch Messi. So see what I mean? It's once players understand that, they go, well, if I delay the restart of the game, he's going to penalise me.
So 3 things.
They're the 3 things.
Restart the game.
Yep.
You're going to get penalised.
The talking.
Yep.
The descent from around the place, and throw-ins.
Okay.
And they're very relevant. In amateurs, I throw in offside as well, but that might be above this podcast because in offsides, in amateur level, every team has had an issue with club linesman.
Yes.
Every team.
Yes.
He cheats. He's this.
It's
He's
a really
an
good
idiot.
question, that one.
He's always flagging offside. I've had.
Well, just to iterate, just to explain to some of our listeners who don't know.
Yeah.
So, the linesman is on the left back of the team that they are volunteering for.
Yes.
That's
On their defensive line.
On their defensive line. So
Yep.
you're the one. You're on the side, basically. We'll say.
Yep.
If you're being subjective, on the side. And if you're a dad, as an example, your son is playing for the team.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's put it in that perspective.
Yeah.
Your son is playing for the team who would benefit from you calling offside.
Absolutely.
It's hard for opposition parents when they're questioning that. It's a hard one, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Especially when you believe that it's not offside and you've got the person who's going to benefit from that.
And so
making those decisions.
And so that's what I say to my teams, my amateur teams and kids, even junior teams. You get different levels of assistant referees, a linesman. And I just say, guys, I'll put the flag up, but don't stop playing at all. We're going to play. If I look across and that linesman is 20 metres behind play or 20 metres ahead of play, or he's on his mobile phone, or he's wearing flip-flops, or he's looking up at the sky, or how many other things I could talk about, that they all turn up in weird and wonderful things. They're not interested. If he's 10 or 15 metres ahead of play or behind play, he's guessing.
Yeah.
Therefore, I tell my players, if there's a possibility for a goal, I'm going to let the opportunity take place. I can see he's offside. He's raised his flag. I've waved him down. I'm going to see what happens. If you score, that gives me time to do my own VAR in my head. If I like it, I'll go across and I say, okay, Jose, what did you see? And you're going to tell me something. Now, if you're going, well, I think he might have been this, I'm going, oh, okay, you got no idea.
Yeah.
What did I see? Do I like what I see? I give the goal, don't give the goal. So I tell the players, you're going to leave it to me or I follow him. If I follow him, one of you guys are going to call him a cheat. Now I've got to send you off. Because you calling him a cheat, he's calling me a cheat. Because he's on my team. So I've got to support him. So therefore, play it out. If you miss, it doesn't matter. We'll take the offside. If you score, I'll go over chat. Everyone loves it.
Got another thing to add on to that because that's at amateur level. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, I actually was listening to some post-game commentary. They were talking actually about Arsenal, how many injuries they had and all these sorts of, and why injuries have skyrocketed in the last 12 to 24 months. And one of the things that they mentioned, in particular with defenders, and one of the things that they mentioned was because, and I think it's great that they allow a player to go and you score the goal, and if it's not a goal, great. I think that's fantastic.
Yep.
But the impact it can have on players is that they are doing a lot more sprints that they used to. When it used to get caught offside, they wouldn't be doing those extra sprints.
True. I got a good response. Very good response, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's great. I'm just asking the question, and they were talking about how much extra ground they're covering, how much because when that happens, players are at 100%. They're sprinting as fast as they can to score or prevent the goal, and obviously was leading to greater injuries.
Yeah, look, I get asked this question once I tell players about offside. They go, what happens if we get injured? If you call it, call it. And I go, okay, well, at the moment, all the teams in the world with VAR, the referees are instructed when the offside is tight, hold the flag. Now, because they're microphoned up, the linesman will be saying to the referee, waiting offside, or just use the word waiting. There's some different words they use, but he'll say waiting, waiting, waiting. Now, to the referee, that says he's potentially offside, and waiting is the word which is he's offside, but we're going to allow the play to happen and VAR will check.
Yep.
Goal gets scored, flag goes up. If he misses it, the flag goes up and people just accept it's offside because he's missed. Flag goes up, he scored, VAR checks, goal given, goal not given. Now, if it's good enough for the most expensive players in the world to run that last 50 metres, 20 metres, 30 metres, and we're complaining in amateur Division 2, what happens if I get injured? So I go, well, what's your philosophy? If none of you guys call this guy a cheating F and C and all sorts of wonderful things, I'll follow it's easier for me to just follow my assistant.
Yep.
He flagged, offside. As long as no one gets upset.
Which isn't going to happen.
Which is not going to happen.
Yeah,
So you already know it's not going to happen.
Well, realist. All right, let's get back to your a day in the life of. Wow, I love how we go off on different tangents. It's brilliant. So you've spoken about previously about your preparation throughout the day. But in terms of when you get there, is there a physical warm up that you do or a mental warm up that you do when you arrive at the court or the field? Is there something that you do to prepare for the game?
Yeah, look, it's once again, you get to the ground, there'll be supporters there and stuff like that. You're going to go through some handshakes, and this is what was happening. You go through some handshakes and maybe some autographs and stuff like that, which is fine. So, but you're still at quite a low level anxiety-wise because that's how you've turned up to the game because you've still got 90 minutes to go. Meet and greet, whoever you got to meet and greet as a player, and then once you go and get called into the change room, we go, right, that's the next level of preparation. You've now left the crowd, your family, your wife, whatever, that's the next level down. Now you're slowly focusing into game mode. Now I'm going to start getting changed. I'll be sitting there next to my defender. What are you doing? What this plan? We're going to do this. We're going to do that. What did we do last week? So now it's pretty much just football, nothing else.
Yep.
So we all get changed, go out onto the field, and you go through whatever warm-up, the team's warm-up or the goalkeeper's warm-up. That's just pretty much standard. No need to go into too much detail there, but you go through your dives, some kicking, stuff like that. So you prepare just, again, slowly. You start performing all the particular motions that you'll be doing, but at a low intensity level. So low jogging, slow jogging, warming up to sprinting, never jumping, bigger jumping, punching, throwing over 20 metres, 30 metres, 40 metres, 50 metres, just getting the arms, getting into that movement. And this is all timed to about quarter to three kickoff, for instance. Then you go back, get changed. Now you're back into team mode. Coach goes through pre-match instructions, whatever that's going to be. Most players, I don't even think many players even listen to pre-match instructions.
They glaze over, don't they?
And then you go out and then off we go. And then you just play. So the routine, look, we've watched it all over the world. Now they put a lot of cones out now and they make it look quite fancy and stuff like that. And that's fine. That's the current method of warming up. I'm dead against what's happening all over every team I've seen so far have got these boom boxes now playing in their change rooms with this horrible music being pumped out at 110 decibels. And in outdoors, look, it's got 16 players in a change room and coaches are going, well, the players want it. Now, no one at this point in time, and I've spoken to a couple of sports psychologists, you can't tell me that 16 players love it. There might be 4 or 5 that tolerate it. 2 or 3 probably hate it. So the impact it's having on the team in their pre-match preparation, I think, is so understated and being dominated by peer group pressure that it's affecting the team.
Interesting.
I think am I old fashioned? Yeah. I've had players as the referee. I've had, you're old fashioned. I said, well, I might be, but you can't prove to me that this is a winner. Now, if every single team's doing it, well, you're on par with each other anyway. So who's no one's getting the 1%.
Have there been any studies done on that?
Well, that's what I'm trying to find out, because I don't think it's a relatively new phenomenon. I'm now watching teams take it onto the training warm-up and got a boombox on the field playing whatever really loud. Now, I simply can't understand, once you get into the last half an hour or 20 minutes in the change room at least, that we should be having these conversations like I'm having with you now. Jose, I need you to pull your socks up this week. You know, last week you made this mistake, or last week you did really well. So I need you to keep that focus. And I'm having these intimate conversations because we're about to go to war. Yeah. But if I've got a 100 decibel speaker going boom, 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 and you're going, what? What's going on? I can't hear you. Jeez, this is hurting my head. How can that be a perfect entry into elite sport if you've got suffering tinnitus in your ear? Yeah. It's blown me away that it happens.
Are you telling me the referees don't have a boombox in their change room?
Okay. Really quick example. Our FIFA referee, Johnny Barbiero, I'll throw his name out there. I've known him since he was 17 years old in Melbourne. He's currently one of Australia's FIFA referees. Good on him. He's done really well. But I ran his line in Melbourne. So me and a friend who were two experienced referees when he was about 23 or 4, I think, at the time. He was just coming up, but he was promoted and all that sort of stuff. So they had two experienced guys helping him out. And he brought in his little boombox thing and he had his music pumping and And I said, Johnny, I go, what's going on here? And he goes, well, it gets me in the mood, gets me fired up, gets me focused. And I went, great. I go, what happens if it breaks? When the batteries run out? What happens if the circuit board, someone spills something in it? Is that the end of your game now? That's it. You got no plan B. That falls apart, you got no plan B.
No backup speaker.
No backup speaker. So if you're using this item to get you in the mood, we got a problem. You might have music in the background, low level, something like that. I can't live with that. But that's a compliment to you inside your brain, inside your two ears. But if you're using that to get up, get motivated, rocky music sort of stuff, then we got a problem.
Rocky music. That's another conversation.
Once upon a time.
Eye of the Tiger.
Eye of the Tiger.
Wow.
So this is what I mean. I mean, I had in my second game I played in Adelaide, and my kit, my boots, socks, shorts, went to Brisbane. Okay. All the bags went on the plane. Everyone's went to Adelaide. Mine went to Brisbane. The only thing I carried with me was my gloves and my contact lenses. They're the only thing I never let go when I got on the plane. Of all the years, I've got a little bag, like a handbag, sort of man bag thing, gloves, contact lenses. Got to the airport, Adelaide. We're playing Adelaide City at the time. My bag's gone. We're playing in 3 hours, 2 hours. It's gone to Brisbane. It's not coming back. So no chance. Now what do? Fall apart? Panic? No. I go into Adelaide City's dressing room, go up to Robbie Zabika, who's a Perth boy.
Yeah.
He was playing when I was playing. And I go, Robbie, I need some stuff.
And he gave it to
I got
you.
no boots. No, we were about the same size and height. And so he's dug out some socks and given his boots. He's about half a size bigger than me. So I got his boots on, socks on, shorts on of his, a top. Played. But my head was still in the right spot. You know what I mean? No matter what happened, your head can't move.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what I mean. This preparation has got to be in between the ears, not have these physical things around you. Because if they go belly up, now what?
Now, in terms of we've spoken about a warm-up as a player. How about as a referee? Do you have a warm-up routine that you follow before the game?
Look, we're required, again, the higher level guys. If last night at the state international game that was there, you'd have Niall, who's the referee. He'd run The three of them would do a together warm-up, some stretching, some light jogs, and then they generally would peel off and the assistants would go on their lines and do some sidestepping and sprinting, so specific to what they're going to be doing.
Yep.
And the referee, Niall, would do some diagonal runs across the park, some backpedaling, some turning, sprinting, so things that then specifically complement their position, their role, their duty.
Yep.
So that's sort of their level. If you go back again, they have a pre-instruction routine, and if they're wearing comms gear, they'll have normally a set list of words they particularly use regarding throw-ins, which way it's going to be, offside, what to call, when not to call, if the ball came off a defender instead of a striker, if it's denying a goal-scoring opportunity. When the ball gets played through, they may say dogso, denying a goal-scoring opportunity.
Oh, dogso.
Or they say stopping a promising attack. They might go spar. So as soon as the ball gets played through, most players just call out, last man, ref, he was the last man, send him off. Again, that's something I'd love the players to understand, the rules better, but they don't. But when the ball gets played through, it's that initial snapshot of what you see. The referee will signal, he'll speak through his comms, and he'd go dogso or spar, which means if he is going to get tackled now, outside the box, it'll be a red card. But if it's stopping a promising attack, it's going to be a yellow card, based on 4 factors, which most players don't know. So when there is that last man scenario, I'm sure you've heard it called out, ref, last man.
Yes, I have.
And then I normally would say to a player, what are the other 3 things I need to tick off before I can send him off? You name me 4, name me the 4 things I've got to think of in this 1 second, and I'll send him off. And the players just stare at me. He's the last man. Well, that's one. Well, position of the other defenders is what it's more. It's not actually last man. It's position of the other defenders. Because last man could be at the halfway line, but there could be 2 guys running in,
Yeah.
Just depends. But if you tell me the 4, I'll send him off.
What are they?
And that's why we said at the beginning, if the players know the laws, they can have a better chance of manipulating the referee. Instead of swearing at him and rah, rah, just yelling and screaming in his face. If I go, Jose, that was reckless. That was excessive force. And use the terminology that referees use, you might get a decision in your way. You shouldn't.
Let me write this down.
Yes. These are the 1%ers. This is the elite 1%. If you want your team to be elite, it's all about 1%.
So reckless and excessive force.
Yes. There's reckless,
like
excessive. Yes, right.
Yep.
So, and careless, which is just a free kick. So there's many of these things. But if they don't know, all the players are is just screaming at me, swearing. And I'm looking at the player going, you're going to get balked. Because at the moment, you're not talking sense to me. You're just screaming at me. And that's not helping anybody.
It must be frustrating for you, knowing that you know the rules and these people don't. Almost like like a monkey trying to operate a computer, banging the keyboard, frustrated why it's not working.
I'm frustrated because for 20 years, I've tried to encourage coaches to get the referee out there. And it's not to be nice players. So once they know the law, they've got a better chance of manipulating the referee. And I'm the referee. But my job is not to be manipulated. But if you're going to manipulate, if the more knowledge you have, knowledge is power. If you've got no knowledge, you're just going to swear at me. And if some referee, he'll just go, red card, you swore at me, boom. But
we've actually had a couple of times where with a junior team and a senior team where the junior team in particular, you came after the game, you and I had a discussion and we invited you in and you actually spoke to the team and explained why certain decisions were made and they really benefited from that. And you actually came to one of our training sessions at Pro Futsal.
That's right.
To discuss a particular situation and why. I remember it was after a training session and the players really valued that.
Look, I can't tell you how critical this is. It's the job of the referee is not to be influenced by that. and the weaker ones might get influenced. And that's the game that you guys play at the elite level. You're trying to get that 1%. You're trying to get that edge. But if your edge is Vol screaming at me, I'm just thinking to myself, you know what, Jose, you're being so mean. You know that next 50-50 against you? You're not getting it.
That's a question I've got coming up.
I know.
Right, good.
Well,
All right,
I'm going to ask you that question. Right. The ball's gone off 2 players. Equally, just gone sideways, out for a throw-in. Who do you give it to? Who do you give it to? It's just straight sideways? Straight sideways?
I'm going to give you the right answer. Whoever touched it last.
No, it's same.
You give it to the other team.
They hit it the same. You can't pick it. Who do you give it
I'm
to?
not a referee, so you know I'm not really the right person.
Doesn't matter. But who would you give it to?
I will give you my opinion, but because I don't want to forget my previous point, I will come back to that.
All right.
So you've mentioned obviously, and I agree with you that players are trying to manipulate and bend the rules, which I get that, which is cool. But also, we're dealing with people who are very one-sided. You will see things that suit you or that you want to fight for. I'm not saying everybody. I'm just saying invariably most players, most coaches will try and fight for what they think they saw through a certain lens, which will benefit them and give them the desired outcome that they are striving for.
Absolutely.
So not only are they trying to bend the rules, but sometimes it's innocent. They're not trying to bend the rules. They just see what they see, right? But that suits them. Now, going back to your question, that's my question to you, but how am I going to answer that?
That's right. Who do you give it to? What's your basis to giving it to anyone?
Again, I'm going to go back to the grey area that you said. It depends on there's going to be a few factors. What part of the field is it in? What's the score? What's the age group? What's the level of competition? You know, how important is this decision to the outcome of the game? Now, if the score is 20-0, as an example, then I'll give it to the team that's losing 20-0. If I'm not sure, I'll give it to them.
Why?
Because it's not going to have a massive – well, it won't have – I won't say any impact because you never know. The team could come back and win 21-20. But it will – it's likely to have
2-1.
less.
Let's say it's 2-1.
Okay, it's 2-1.
You give it to the losing team.
I'm giving it to the losing team. What part of the court is it in?
Okay, let's just say the halfway line.
At the halfway line. That's a tough one. That's a really, really tough one.
Actually, this is a lesser of the two.
Which team has been nicer to me? Which is my very next question to you, by the way. Which team has been nicer to me?
Very important. And being more specific, which player?
Ooh. Yeah, okay.
Because now if it's a miserable bugger who's been a real pain against someone who's not as...
The decision will go against. But what if there is a miserable bugger on that team, but it's not that player, that man or woman?
It could be the team then.
Right, that team, let's just
could be
say
giving you
it's
a bit of grief.
2 players that haven't given you any grief, but overall one team has been giving me grief, then I would give it to them all.
Maybe. You shouldn't.
Right team.
As a referee, you shouldn't make that sort of a call, that human call. But you are.
This is based on the fact.
This is a human call. This is a human call.
This is a human call. This is a grey area call. And this is based on the fact that I genuinely don't know who the ball came off.
But you've got to give it to someone.
I mean, you try and use as many factors as you can to try and determine it. You know, hang on, it's gone that way.
It's gone angle of the ball, blah, blah, blah.
Whatever. You try and use that as best as possible, try and be as fair as possible. But once you get to the point where you don't know, someone's going to get the call.
Someone has to get it.
You can't say, I don't know, and just leave the game like that and just walk off and go home.
Right.
Yeah, you'd have to use person. Yeah, you'd have to use.
Look, I'll help you. It couldn't be that. It could be personal. They're miserable. They're not. The losing one is the best because it's a lesser of two evils. The winning team are winning.
Yep.
They'll probably go, who cares? The losing team goes, we get something. So it's a lesser of two evils.
Yes. So give it to the losing team.
Some guys go the defending team. Now.
Depends on the part of the court. You said the central part. You said the middle part.
But the losing team I have a tendency to do that. It's a losing team because of the lesser of the two evils. Personalities, you don't really want to go there. You don't really want, because that you're stooping down to
That
a
would be
level.
the last.
That's the last.
That's the last
That's the
layer.
bottom. And that's if it
of
is that
decision-making,
one
yeah.
particular guy's being miserable, and you give it that way, and you go, well, you change your tone, and you might get the next one. Well, you can't do that. I go, well, it's a 50-50. I can do whatever I want. What do I do? It's a 50-50. I can't make it up.
Yeah, that's right. You got to make a decision and go with it.
And go with it. So you make it as quick as you can. The default, I think, is losing team. And you go boom, boom.
Move on.
Move on.
All right. We've got a whole section on that, which I'm looking forward to. All right. Now, discuss your take on interactions with coaches and players before a game. Now, I asked that because back in 2010 when Spain won the World Cup, soccer, Iniesta, a Barcelona player, I'm a Barcelona fan. He, in an interview after the World Cup, he mentioned that one thing that the Spain team did do before every game, every player would go and, say hello to the referees and have a bit of a chat to them and spend some time with them. And he says that just had a really positive impact for them because, here we are, some of the best players that Spain has ever had.
Yeah.
Xavi and Iniesta and David Silva and Puyol and Piqué and Casillas, you name it. Some of these superstars giving the referees time, and they found it had a positive impact on their game. And I'm curious. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I always greet the referees, not because I expect anything. Obviously, I'm playing at a very different level than a World Cup.
It's all proportional.
Yes, but how do you feel when people come to you and greet? If it's genuine, not genuine. Like how do you take it all?
At that level, I'd be skeptical. We're here to win. It's the World Cup. Does it give you 0.5%? Does it give you 1%? Does it give you the perception of being nice? If the other team doesn't do it, if the other team does it as well, now they've both been. I'm real skeptical now.
Yep.
Why are we doing this? This is rare. Why is this team all of a sudden doing it? Who have they been coached? What sports psychologists have they spoken to? What angle are they trying to get here? Because remember, we're not here to be mates.
Correct.
So again, I'd have my antennas would be great. Jose, how you going? Have you a great go? Have a fantastic game today. Oh, look, how's the wife? Because I probably met your wife, or like after one game at Barcelona, we're all having dinner after the game, that both teams and the referees will be there as well. And yes, I've probably spoken to you and your wife, and your kids are probably running around the place somewhere. And that goes on, absolutely. But it's all at arm's length because you don't know who's watching, who's taking a photo, who's doing something. It's all at arm's length. And this could be the manipulation for the next game. So you've got to be cautious. So the guy who's being your mate and the guy who's screaming at you, you've got to be skeptical of both. There might be genuineness there, but once we cross the white line, I have to change, period. Because that's not being fair on the other team.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't know if the perception is that helps them, good luck. But again, you'll probably find the referees are going into the change rooms anyway or speaking to them anyway. Hey, how you going?
Yeah,
we all know
right.
each other by name, and the AFL does it. You hear them on their speakers. They, Jose, stop, back off. Jose, stop doing that. So they're talking to them name because they learn their names, and they're hoping to build a rapport, but hoping. I don't expect to be going to dinner with you that night. So that's what I mean. It's a dangerous game. But if you want to build respect, understand the laws.
But you obviously have a very experienced referee. You've been around. You've played the game at a very, very high level. But you can see how it could work in some situations.
100%.
And we're talking about World Cup. Sometimes those referees obviously aren't from, let's just say, Spain. It was in South Africa. You're getting referees from some countries that aren't huge in football or soccer.
That's right.
That aren't privy to seeing some of these players
Up close.
close.
It's rare once you get into quarterfinals, the ego of the referee matches the ego of the players.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
Maybe during the rounds, they'll come across different nationalities who've just been promoted into the first, second, third rounds of, they're the ones you manipulate.
They're the ones.
They're the ones because they've never seen Xavi before. They've never seen these players. They're going, whoa, this is a big deal. I better be careful. And Xavi comes up and goes, hey, how you going? Congratulations. This is your first FIFA Cup game? Yeah. Good on you. Have a good one, all right?
It's a big deal. I can see how that would have a positive impact.
That's right.
But what about then? Let's talk local level. Okay, I'm walking up to you. It's an F League or a Super League game or a state futsal league game, and I genuinely look. I'm saying it now. I genuinely, when I say hello to referees, I genuinely just want to say hello to them.
Yeah.
But someone comes up to you, right? Not me, because you know I'm genuine. But someone that maybe doesn't normally do it, and it's a tough game. It's a big game, and all of a sudden they come up and they're all friendly with you.
Yeah.
Alarm bells are ringing.
Alarm bells are ringing. Especially if I know them. Being refereeing them, I go, hang on a minute, something's changed. Why has it changed? Something's happened. Is it a game, is it a semi-final, cup final? Everyone wants to be my best mate. Hang on a minute.
And I'm going to be honest with you, as an opposition coach, if I saw you high-fiving and doing a little dance with the opposition coach before a game, I'd be like, hey, that's probably not great for me.
Absolutely.
Not great for my team.
So perception is everything.
Yeah, perception is very important.
Come up, shake your hand, see you later.
All right, we're going to move on to tough calls and high-pressure moments. Do you watch? I mean, we've talked about dives. Do you watch for clever fouls that look innocent but disrupt the game flow? And how do you deal with them?
Okay, there's a couple of schools of thought. Again, once players are aware of this, there's an attitude of little fouls. Soft, the word is. I can't stand, it's a 4-letter word. Soft foul.
Soft.
Because the best players in the world do soft fouls. I don't have to push you in the back. I just have to push you 4 inches away from the ball and you miss the header. Yep. That's soft. But if I'm the defender and you've jumped and you're just above me, I just have to nudge ever so gently. But I don't have to nudge you 6 inches, about the half a width of the ball, and I've got the header.
Yep.
It's nearly you can't perceive the push because the player hasn't really moved. The player's felt it, but he's not been. You can't see the lunge or the he's been shoved forward. You could see a hand in the back, but then you're entitled to put a hand up because you're holding your space. You're defending your space, so you're entitled to put your hands there. If you don't put your hands there, his head might bang into your nose. So you're entitled to jump and hold your space. We look for the bending elbow.
Bending elbow.
Because if your elbow bends, that means you've pushed. If it's straight, you're holding your position.
Wow.
So if you see someone elbow bends and then straightens, there's a good chance he's pushed. Now you see the outcome, who's won the header, who's not won the header. Did it affect it? Did he push him a little bit or a lot? Did it affect the outcome of the header? Free kick. Is it soft? It is soft. But did he not gain an advantage? He did. But players go, ref, that's soft. What is soft? Now, if you like and this is another count, if you like a physical game, e.g. Scottish, British, they don't mind a bit of physical, aggressive. So what they deem as soft is different to what Australia's deems sort of soft, and it's completely different. Different nationalities referee different ways. African referees watch all sorts of weird stuff going on. European referees are different again. Asians are different again. Australia's different again. The laws try to make us consistent, but if you're watching a British game of football, especially older-fashioned British, people are kicking lumps out of each other.
Yeah.
But no one's complaining because that's how they play. They come to Australia, they go, I can't touch anyone in Australia. But that's how we've been taught to referee. In Africa, you got the guy, there are a lot of legs and arms flying around everywhere and big jumps, and they let it go because that's how they play. So it's really hard. While you have the laws of the game, you've got a cultural biases of referees. So it's very dangerous to put a particular nationality with a English against German. You need someone from Europe maybe dealing with that because they know what they're going to get. But if you put an Australian in there or an African in there who has not done that sort of football, it could be a recipe for disaster. So FIFA has to be very conscious of that sort of tilt or bias.
You mentioned cultural bias, which obviously is evident in many games that you watch. But even within, and let's use Australia as an example, and I'm a huge advocate for teams to travel. Coburn Wolves have travelled nationally and internationally,
Yep.
and when you travel to other national competitions, whether it be the Futsal Nationals, Football West, or whether it be the Futsal Oz Junior Nationals, or whatever it might be, the refereeing is very different over there. They allow a lot more physicality than I have found personally here in WA. And that's the first thing I say to players when we travel is play to the whistle. I know it's a cliche, but do not expect to get fouls that you get back in WA, because it's a very high likelihood that will not. It'll be play on, and we'll be left questioning the referee or waiting for a call that's not going to come. So even within sometimes the same country, different regions, the levels of physicality are different, aren't they?
Absolutely. And now if you go back several World Cups, I know we mentioned this, and it's this the bit I think I mentioned earlier, which might upset our listeners, but Australia's, if you listen to commentators and foreign coaches when they get interviewed about when they play Australia, especially when we went through the Harry Kewell stage at 2006, 2010 World Cup team, Kale, Schwarzer, all these blokes who all played first-team football in Europe.
Big names there.
Big names, big dollars. And when foreign coaches got interviewed, they go, so what are you going to do about Australia? What's going to happen? They go, well, we've got to deal with Kale, and we got Schwarzer in goal, and we got this Bresciano in the middle of the park and Kewell on the left, and we've got to make sure he's got to stop this, and because this player and that player. They're all issues to foreign teams. Each player was a problem, a genuine problem that they had to work out how they're going to stop. If you listen to the interviews now, and you listen to our Australian commentators now, the words physicality and aggression, how are you going to deal with Australia? Foreign countries go, well, they bring a high level of aggression and physicality to the game, which is not a problem. That's easy to deal with. We'll sit back, they'll punch themselves drunk, and then we'll counterattack. You know what I mean? They're not worrying about the individual players. They're worrying about team aggression. And that is where our football has got to. And it's an atrocious, we've spiraled down to being, I won't say disrespected, but we're not as well respected. And again, it's an indictment on our game. When I referee, I count nearly every single game I referee how many players pass with the outside of their foot. Just a little thing I do, a little thing in the back of my head, and in nearly every single game I referee in Australia or WA, they'd be lucky to be a couple. That's an indictment on our sport. Less in futsal, because futsal encourages all five sides of the foot, back, front, underneath, top, sides, the whole thing. Different. Outdoor, we have bred flair, skill, interpretation out of our kids for at least a generation. And it's I get quite emotional about it, because when I'm refereeing, I watch the boys in the NPL and the State 1 and 2. The goalkeepers catch the ball. I automatically, as a goalkeeper, but also as a referee, I look forward to see, well, is he going to kick it long, throw it long? Because I've got to start running. Because there's a counter-attack, I've got to get moving quickly. I turn, I see 1-on-1 or 2-on-2. So I start running, anticipating, well, that's what I would do. I'd launch it, especially if I've got some tactic with my own striker set up. So throw it, kick it, throw it down low, whatever it is, drop kick, doesn't matter. That's what we used to do. I'd turn and run. And then I look back and the keeper's not doing anything. He's waiting for his left and right back to get right next to him, so he plays it out from the back. Now, I asked these keepers, and without a word of a lie, every amateur team I've played, I go, what's going on? Why didn't you throw it, kick it? It's one-on-one. And he goes, I'm not allowed to. I've got to play out from the back. I go, what do you mean play out from the back? You're joking. You have to. You have to.
Yeah, I can speak personally to that. Yeah. I've been told as an outdoor coach, you must play out from the back.
That's catastrophic for our game.
Drove me nuts. Look, it's about at the end of the game is about scoring more goals than the opposition. It's about scoring goals. No one says, we lost 1-0, but we played out from the back successfully 7 times and they only did 5 times. And really you have to look at how many goals are being scored against teams because they are forcing to play out from the back.
That's right.
How many errors are being made? But they're learning. Learning for what?
Correct.
They'll show a highlight of a goal that's scored from playing out from the back. Wow, what a beautiful goal that was. But how many goals are scored like that?
Conceded from an error.
Well, how many goals are conceded, number one, and how many goals are scored from playing out from the back like that? Not a great deal. But how many goals do you see from quick counterattacks or from long throws or long kicks that disrupt an organised defence or whatever? There's so many different ways to score a goal, and playing out from the back is not the only one.
And this is to add to that is free kicks. Free kick takers in Australia. Players not from overseas who are playing in the A-League or in our state league. Current born A-League players who you'd pay $30 to go watch take a free kick. If Ronaldo came here, I'd pay $30 to watch him take a free kick.
Yep.
Messi came here, pay $100 to watch a free kick. Just because I want to see it, how good it is. In our A-League, I can't name anyone who I'd pay money to go see an Australian who go to see it take a free kick. Yet they're full-time. They've got all the facilities. They've got all the infrastructure, but not the will for one person to say, I'm going to be the best free kick in Australia. E.g. Ferguson with Ronaldo. There's a bag of balls. There's a couple of junior goalkeepers. Knock yourself out because you're going to give me 30 goals from free kicks this year and another 35 from open play. And he wanted to be the best. And he was the best. So why isn't one of our A-League boys that person?
That's a really good question.
What is stopping us? What's the mentality that if you're full-time, when I was playing, we were part-time, we were still working and going to the ground, we were playing in mud heaps and it was a disaster, but that's what our level was. The National League back then was. These guys are playing in, is it Amy Park? No, our one here, HBF Park, whatever it's called. So great facilities, great practice facilities, full-time, and no one in Australia wants to be the best free kick taker in Australia.
It's a very good question. I mean, I will talk a little bit to that. Look, when I did my C licence and commenced my B licence, a big focus on coach education is, so you've got 2 different types of training. You've got holistic training, which is, learning the actions of the game within a holistic setting. The other one is isolated training. So isolated is when you're isolating that skill or that technique. And obviously free kicks isn't isolated, even though you've got other players in place. But when it comes to training sessions, you want everybody passing and first touching and 1v1s and running with the ball, and you want players everywhere, etc. But you don't see many set pieces in training because it involves, like corners as an example, it involves a lot of people standing around, right? Yep. And doing nothing really, right? Not doing nothing, but from a coaching perspective, they're not actively touching the ball, they're not interacting. So unfortunately what you find is with a lot of, I'm not saying all, because I have been part of, seen a lot of training sessions where they do work on corners, and I've worked on corners myself against the philosophy of the club. When you can, you sneak it in, right? Or you do extra training sessions. I suppose it comes down to free kicks. It comes down to the individual players grabbing themselves a bag of balls, having a goalkeeper, having goals with nets put in place, because you want it when you're taking, you don't want to be chasing balls and it takes time and a lot of effort. Some of these professional clubs should be doing it. I'll put a lot of focus on the play. If your club's not going to do it, if your coach isn't going to allow it within a training session, do it in your own time.
Yeah. But the A-League's got the time. A-League's got the time.
A-League's got the time.
And they've got yet they don't want to. So that's a mental block.
Yep.
That is a huge problem. And if you just watch an A-League game and count how many times they pass the ball the outside of their foot, if you get to 5 in the whole game, I'd be amazed.
I'm going to add
If you go down to the Spanish club and watch Brozzy play.
No, they're no longer there.
Okay. If you go watch Brozzy play.
Coburn Wolves play at the Spanish club.
Anyway, so you go watch Brozzy play, you'll see more one touches and back heels and pass with the outside of their foot in one game than you'll see in the entire in the A-League in a whole season.
Yep.
Why? Because that's what they do. That's their culture. That's a South American culture, and it's wonderful. It's beautiful to watch because it's ingrained in how they play. But we don't do it in Australia. Watch the A-League. You get 2 or 3, if that.
Yeah, but I've spoken to parents who obviously their players play futsal and they play outdoor as well. And they've actually been told off by coaches by doing a toe poke or by doing the outside of the foot. It's not part of the game. You've got to do this and do that. And young kids are actually being told, they're being instructed by, won't name the clubs, but big, very prominent clubs that everybody knows, being instructed that no, they are not to do those actions.
Yes, 100%.
Even though it's part of the foot.
Yeah. I know that firsthand. I've spoken to players at very elite level firsthand and go, why is that happening? And they go, we've been told not to. And we're adult footballs now.
Yep.
And that's catastrophic. You want to change the game? Tell them to pass with the outside of their foot.
Some big names you mentioned. We don't have those big names anymore, do we?
I did a 6-a-side futsal game down here at with Jacob Burns. He ran a little thing he does every year. And one...
Can't be futsal. 6-a-side.
Sorry. Just
futsal is 5-a-side.
Small-sided game.
Small-sided game, yes.
And he had... one of the teams you mentioned before was lopsided. They played 2 15-minute halves and someone got up to 7 or 8-0 and he goes, look, if you have to, just manipulate the laws, give the other team an extra player. Just so they're little kids. They just get it going because anyway. So one of the teams was really good and they got to 6-0 within 6 minutes. And I go, right, I'm going to start imposing some changes. I go, boys, you can only play with the outside of your feet. Now, the parents all arced up. The kids looked at each other and went, how can we get around this? And they all started trying it. Scoring went way down, but they were forced to stop and pass and pass. And I go, this is beautiful. But they got the parents complained. They complained. They went, what's he do? He's confusing a kid. That's the word they used. And I go, you're joking, aren't you? I'm opening up the world to your kids and you're saying I'm confusing your kids. That's the state of the game in Australia. That's scary. See, the kids have got a handbrake. You're confusing our kids. If no one scored on the team, if one kid who hasn't scored, I say, well, guys, the game's not 8-0 now. Right, Jose hasn't scored a goal. He has to score next. No one else can score except him. You watch these little 12-year-old kids, they go, right, Jose, you stand up front and you and you and you make sure we're passing the ball here and here. Don't move. We've got to get it to you. Everyone got to get the ball. And these kids they created a solution to a problem instantly. Parents are going, you're confusing the kids. I go, this is beautiful what has just happened. No coaches told them. They had to figure it out. And they figured it out. Frank Arrock put on a training session, and I think you should take this to futsal, take it to anywhere you like, and you watch, you'll see how good a player, and anyone who's listening should try it. And I'll never forget it. It's really impacted on me. He got us to play 8 against 8 or whatever it was, and he goes, right, no one can speak at all. You can't clap your hands. You can't speak. You can't ask for the ball. No talking at all. And the session was dead silent. You know how fast you see who good players are? Because they look up before they get it. They're always checking before they get it. Because they can't speak and they can't hear, so they've got to look. And that sorted out players in a split second. And he goes, some guys go, well, why can't we do that? He goes, right, when we go to Argentina and we're with 80,000 people, we can't hear each other at all. We're in Spain and we're in the new camp. You're not hearing anything. So if this talking business is it's just a waste of time because you've got 100,000 people in an echo chamber. Just going. So everything's vision.
Yeah. Look, that's definitely something we've worked on in training quite a bit where you do it in silence. And there's so many cues that players can use, right? My pet hate is when I hear a player, here. Like you said, what does that mean, here? Who's here?
Yes.
And what do you want? Right. What do you want? And why would I pass to you? Because you're yelling here, right? Whereas when they can't do that and they've got to be, heads up, like you said, moving into space, their body language has to be positive that, hey, this is where I want the ball and I'm going to move on. And maybe they're pointing, whatever the case. Like there are so many cues. Talking isn't just one. Yeah. And when you rely on one, the others you ignore the other ones and you don't develop them like you should.
See, if you watch the Matildas, the last two games they've played, the two strikers up front, the ball's coming down the left wing, they're putting their hand up in the air like saying, cross it to me.
Yep.
And I'm going, well, who else are they going to cross it to? Why are you putting your hand up like you want it? You're saying, give it to me. And I'm thinking, if I'm the defender, I'd be looking at your hand going, you're supposed to be sort of trying to move me out of position. You're supposed to get a couple of yards on me. You looking at your guy who's going to cross it, you're just trying to time that movement to in a position where I can get a header in.
That's right.
What are you putting your hand up in the air for? That's like under 12s. I don't understand.
As if that winger is going, I'm running with the ball down the side here. Wonder what I'm going to do. Oh, hang on. There's a hand up in the box. I might decide to whip this in.
Yes, very frustrating.
All right.
Very
question.
Frustrating. Anyway.
Have you ever made a call you regretted?
Yeah, look, yes. It didn't affect the outcome of the game, but yeah, there was only a minute or two to go, and I let a player get the better of me. He was a younger guy. You know him.
Ooh. Futsal or football?
Both. You know him. If I mention it, you'll know him, 100%. But anyway, very difficult, very obnoxious. But he got the better of me. And while I didn't bend the rule, instead of giving a goalkeeper 6 seconds, I gave him 6 seconds. Instead of giving him 7, I gave him 6. Right on the money, which you rarely do. And it created an indirect free kick, and then they scored from it. But the team still won 3-2. They still won the game, this cup game. So it didn't have an impact. But I was annoyed that I succumbed to an emotion as opposed to just referee. I knew it was going to impact on the game because the game had finished. And that's you rarely go there. And I was up front, and after the game, I apologised to the coach. And he didn't really mind. He goes, yeah, I left a bad taste. I said, yeah, I know. But I put my hand up, and two very experienced coaches who I've known there for 20 years, two other guys who are doing their reserves and under 18s, they go, Phil, what's going on? And I went, you're right. I know, you're right, and it should never have happened. And they go, yeah, all right.
So the decision was based more on emotion at the time.
There was an emotion, and you shouldn't go there. Yeah. And that's why this referee to keep at arm's length, best to keep at arm's length. Because once you get involved in emotion, now you've come down to a level where the laws nearly don't matter. You got the power to do nearly, some guys sometimes make up stuff. But yes, it has happened. But rarely.
What's it like when fans or coaches get angry, and how do you stay composed?
Well, see, now we've got the introduction of the technical area, and what do we see on TV? And you see all the big coaches around the world running up and down their technical area, flapping their arms and getting upset and getting emotional and hide behind the word passion. Fourth official comes out, please calm down. And he goes, I'll piss off to the fourth official. But nothing happens. Why? Because FIFA don't want us to spoil the reputation of the game. But it's being spoiled. But we go, it's passionate. But is it passionate? Is it not passionate? Of course it's passionate. So should we take a harder stick to it? We probably should. And go, guys, enough's enough. Why? Because it's impacting the kids' games. Because they will only do what they do. But we're too scared at the higher level, FIFA's level, for them to say, you know what? Deal with, someone screams at the referee, screams at the fourth official, boom, eject them, gone. Just deal with it and let it go through the system.
You know, I've just realised we're using different terms for the same thing. So my question was about anger, right? And it's anger. But you're right, it's disguised as passion. But it's anger at the end of the day. So if I was to say I'm passionate, you go, oh, well, maybe it's not a yellow card. But hang on, if I'm angry and I'm being angry at you, that word alone is, you shouldn't be angry. It's a yellow card. Cop this.
And that's our grey area discretion. Tolerate it. In fact, that's how we're taught. Tolerate it to your level. It's exactly what we're taught. Tolerate it to your level.
Yeah, but referees have got different
levels,
right?
Absolutely. Some are very rules-based. Boom, yellow. Boom, red, get lost. And good luck to them. You know what? Not bad idea. Not a bad idea.
Some referees grow up in a household, as an example, I'm just throwing this out there, where there's a very high threshold of conflict, right? So they will tolerate a lot more.
Yeah.
But then there are others that are not, where everything's very soft and lovely and no one. And those referees would have a very different level of tolerance when it comes to these players. And to be honest, they're the ones that would probably leave the game if someone starts elevating or escalating their passion or anger, as we call it. It's hard to leave it in the hands of a referee when everyone's different.
But we also coach that way. So you might get me this week. You might go, all right, pull your head in because he's really stern. But this next guy, you're right, you can flap our arms a bit more, scream at him a bit more, we might get a decision. So that's not right for the game. It really should be either one of us just go, Jose, boom, yellow, that's enough.
It's black and white.
But we get taught differently. Deal with it with your level of tolerance. And that's not appropriate. See, Tom Kilkelly, coach of Dinella, a number of years ago, I was refereeing, first team, screaming at, I made a couple of, he lost his mind. Screaming at, we were losing 2-1 or 3-1, losing his mind at me. That's ridiculous decision. That is absolute garbage. I've never seen such crap in my life. Non-stop. Now, I've known this guy for 15 years. I'm going, boom, Tom, that's enough, yellow. Boom. He sits down. 2 minutes later, they're still losing 3-1, 10 minutes to go. Another decision. He plowed into me again. And I'm going, this is outrageous. And flapping his arms and screaming obscenities. I go, I have to respond. That's just too much. Boom, second yellow, red, get off. And he threw his arms up and he stormed off through the crowd and into the change room. And I'm going, first I sent off a coach. That annoys me, really annoys me. And it annoys me because it was him. And so after the game, going for a drink, walk up to him and go, Tom, what the hell was all that crap about? And he goes, it had nothing to do with you. They weren't playing at all well, and they had to know that I was so unhappy that I was prepared to get a red card and leave the field because I was pissed off with them. Wow. And I'm going, that makes me feel better. But see how the coach is trying to boost his players by going, this is garbage, put your head in or I'm out of here.
You're part of his toolbox.
And I was part of the toolbox. He manipulated me into a red. And fair enough, he had to go. But I'm going, should I have seen that? Could I have seen that coming? But it was so much. And people were listening to it. So it was too much. If he was on the other side of the park and the crowd couldn't hear what he was saying, maybe I could deal with it better. But once people are involved and they can hear, you can deal with stuff. Shin guards.
That's coming. We're getting there. So we've talked yellow cards and we've talked red cards. You've red carded one coach by the sounds of it.
Has been
there been more?
If we go to futsal and we go to Murdoch and we go to what's his name?
Well, let's not name names here.
Yeah, well, we've all sent that particular person off. But he was also one that was player focused, gets angry to motivate the players.
Okay,
so that was
I think I know who you're
different
talking
scenario.
about.
Anyway,
so yellow cards and red cards, they happen, and there are various reasons why they happen, and every referee is going to give them for different reasons due to the many circumstances as we've already discussed. But okay. Someone's received I know you can appeal yellow cards. Can you appeal red cards?
you can't appeal yellow.
That's right.
You can appeal red for mistaken
red
identity,
cards, but you cannot appeal yellow cards.
only for mistaken identity.
Is that right?
That's it. I've sent you off, but for some reason,
Is that the only reason you can put an appeal in?
Yeah.
Mistaken identity.
you can appeal the severity of the penalty. So if I sent you off and it was 9 weeks, and you're going, hang on a minute, look at this, look at that one. We'll pay $100, but we want to appeal. Should be 4 weeks, not 9.
But the red card will never be overturned.
No.
Just the
Mistaken identity.
Yeah, that's right. Unless it's mistaken, just the length of the ban.
Yeah.
So what's the process said? Someone's received a red card, so 4-week penalty. They've appealed it. What part does the referee then play in how that gets assessed?
No, well, the referee, we're required that night to submit a incident report. So Jose could have, let's just assume, is it a yellow, red, or is it a direct red? Slight variations there. But if it's a direct red, then we would say in the 56th minute, in the goal mouth, Jose punched number 12 from the other team. I issued a direct red card for violent conduct. He left the field with no further incident, or he left the field and then smashed the bench, or he left the field and swore at me and called me an F and this or a C and that. And so we write that off, and that's the end of it.
Okay.
Then they get the report, and you get the report. You get to see the club gets to see the same document, and they then have a choice. I never said that. I did say that. I didn't do that. The referee's lying. The referee's this, that. He's made this up, or didn't make this up, or so. Now you make a decision. Should I appeal it or not? This referee says it's excessive force, but we might have video or someone might see something. We want to show it. That might get it changed from 9 weeks to 3 weeks.
So video can play a big part.
You can bring it in, whether they accept it or not. Once you read it relies on the referee's report. Jose punched someone, and then I gave him a red card, and he left the field of play. Jose punched a spectator. I gave him a red card, and Jose punched a spectator
about another Jose, right?
again.
Not me. We're talking about Jose B.
That's right. So they're the different. Some report writing is left to be desired. There's too much detail and too much fluff, whereas it's pretty simple. Jose made contact with the shin, with a straight leg, using excessive force. That's the end of it.
Okay. Now,
that's why I sent him off.
You put your report in, Football West or whichever organisation is dealing with it, deals with it. Request comes in do they ever contact you again and say, hey, look, we need to question you about your report, or do they just deal with your report as a factual statement and they don't contact you anymore about it?
By law, the referee's report is final because there's no TV evidence, there's nothing else. There might be, but it depends. But generally, there's no video evidence. So the statement is final. Now, some clubs do actually contact Football West and go, hey, hang on a minute. There's no way. Before you look at it never happened like that. So I'm sure there's some negotiation that takes place, but it's probably best that that's the report. You get to see it and you make a choice. Do you want to challenge it or not? And the more basic it is, the better it is for everyone. Because you know if your player snapped the guy's leg in two or not. And then they've got a sort of criteria with incidents of violent conduct or incidents with excessive force receive a 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 week penalty. If it's his second red card in the last 2 weeks, it adds on 2 more games, and just depends. They've got some sort of table that they use to try to make it equate equally.
They have to have consistency.
Yeah. Four-letter word.
Yes. All right. Question. Now, this question is directed regarding futsal. And we have touched on this already. But are any of your decisions impacted depending on the score or timing of the game? I'll give you an example. Would you be more lenient towards the losing team in a game where that team is losing 20-0? Would you give a penalty if there's a handball in the D? It's 20-0 handball. It is a handball. Would you be more lenient and not give it as a penalty? Does that happen?
Does it happen?
Does it happen?
Handball's an easy one because it's very subjective. And the law is what's making your body bigger, what's making your movement towards the ball, what's making a natural position. See how they're all grey?
Yes.
Like we said at the very, very beginning, FIFA dips us in this grey area and goes, good luck, lads.
Yeah.
You sort it out. And they give us training and all. But like you said, if it's a handball, unless the hand is like way, way away from his body, it has to be a pen. If it's next to their body but a bit 20-0, play on.
Yeah.
They're disappointed enough.
Yeah.
Does it really matter? Now, saying that though, but if your team to get promotion needs 21 goals, and in my pre-match preparation,
yes,
I go, Jose's team's playing for promotion. The other team's irrelevant. That game is absolutely critical, and you referee like a cup final.
Would you know this?
100%.
You would.
100%. By the time
I believe you would.
No. By the time the season gets to promotion relegation status, the good referee starts going, what's the mathematical equation going on here? Is it 6th versus 7th, 2 games to go, and no matter what happens, no one's going anywhere. Yep. So let's just keep all the players on the field, try not to send anyone off, because also the players are going, there's nothing in the season for us. So you get some knucklehead who goes, who cares? We're not promoted, we're not relegated. I'm going to kick someone, get suspended for 3 weeks and go to Rottnest.
Rottnest for 3 weeks?
Maybe. He might be a fly in, fly out. He kicks someone, gets 3 weeks suspended, but I'm going up north for 3 weeks. I'm not here anyway. So he's going to just kick someone. So you got all these permutations. So yes.
Unreal.
If your team is your number one playing bottom, what's at stake for everyone? Or forget it, number one playing 7th. What's at stake? Well, hang on, goals for, goals against. The 2 points, you're 21 points, they're 21 points. Goals against, goals difference might be whatever, similar, same. We've got a game on here, boys.
Yeah.
He's looking for 21 goals. Whatever. He's looking for maximum goals.
Yeah. I'm always looking for maximum goals.
We've got a game on.
Yeah.
So you have to look at it like that. What's at stake?
It's a great point.
What's at stake for who's at playing?
So therefore, you give every decision as per normal.
Then that's absolutely, you have to.
Yeah.
That's not being fair on the winning team. I'm not really cared about the emotions of the 21 goals. Because now, if you've won the league and you've got promotion with 2 games to go and you got to 21 goals and there's a dubious pen, I might turn a blind eye. Because you know what? You're promoted. Guess what? you're not going to complain about that pen anyway because you don't care. You know what I mean? So you've got to understand the atmosphere of your game. No matter how basic it is, it means something to someone.
Yeah.
It could mean something to someone.
It could be. Yeah, that's right.
And that relegation could be the flip side. They're equal points. One goal may, even though they lose 21-1, that could be the one goal that changes goal advantage that gets them staying up and get relegated.
Wow.
So you don't want to, you've got an obligation. If you want to do this gig properly, you've got an obligation to have a look.
It's a really good point you've made.
So some referees go, I don't want to know the score. I don't want to know the table. I just want to referee the game based on its merits. I go, that's really naive. And you're really not looking at it from all the permutations that could take place here. That's being very naive. I understand your philosophy of what you're trying to do. Nothing else should impact on what I'm doing, but it's very important you know what. You've got to know who's on yellow cards, who's on this and that. It's a semi-final, it's a grand final, it's a World Cup final. They referee very different. That's why they changed some of the laws in regards to the grand final or the World Cup when you get a yellow and red cards, that they reset and stuff like that.
Yes.
So it's a different beast.
It is a different beast.
So should we do that or not? Well, that's a philosophical debate everyone can make. Should you referee just based on, you just look at a game with no influence? That's one school of thought. Are you better prepared with more information? I like that idea.
I like that idea too.
Tiger Woods always looked at the leaderboard whenever he possibly could. Why? He wants to know who's chasing, where they are. It dictates what he does and how he plays. He wants to know everyone around him. Some guys don't want to know anything. Just want to play.
Look, I will ask the question then. I mean, last game of the season, that extra goal, 21-0, might make the difference. But what if this game is happening earlier in the season and towards the end of the season that team misses out by the one goal that they could have scored if that penalty was given earlier in the season, if it was given, as an example. Obviously, it's a very vague example. Is that different?
If philosophically, no, you're right. Shouldn't make any difference. Nail it, be done with it. But then now we're talking in the next 12 games of this season, that one goal, you can, with all the things that have taken place and all the goals your team's missed and all the goals your team's conceded,
heaps, yeah.
That one goal, you're pinning a relegation promotion situation on. Right. Impossible to even know how to equate that.
Correct.
That's a tough call.
I've got another tough call for you. It's a grand final. Teams have finished equal. Whatever, 2-2.
Yep.
They've gone to extra time. They're in the last minute of extra time, of the second half of extra time.
Yep.
Heading towards penalties. And there's a decision made. There is a controversial decision that would obviously perhaps give a penalty or whatever the case may be. Do you do it? Do you call it? Or do you let it go and let them go to penalties? Do you become the protagonist? Or do you let it go?
No, you call it. Call what you see.
If you're 100% sure. What if you're 80% sure?
Well, then you can't. If you're guessing.
You've got to be 100%.
You've got to be 100%. This is now important.
Okay.
This is now.
So 90% sure is not enough for you to give that call. No.
You got to give it. You got to sell it. You got to make it look confident. If you umming and ahhing and delay your decision, and you either wave it off, you either get up, play on immediately, sell your decision.
Yep.
But if you hesitate at that moment, either you give it and give that whistle and go bang penalty, and look 100% confident, even though you might be 80%, you've got to show you 100%.
Yeah, you got to be 100%. Yeah.
But if you're not confident, you wave it off instantly.
Yep.
And go, no way, get up.
Yep.
Either way, okay, there's going to be some grief no matter which way it happens. But you got to be, the perception is you got to sell your decision, right or wrong. You got to sell it. But if you're hesitant, that's when
players will smell that.
Yeah.
Now, promotion. There has been a lot of promotional work done by Football West and obviously organisations and clubs to promote respect for the referees. Have you found that this has improved the environment for referees? Has it had a positive impact?
No, not at all. Not at all. At the local level, not at all. It has to be presented from FFA, if not FIFA. Because that's where we watch. You watch Spanish League, most people watch EPL. And while they maintain their discipline, you can do whatever you like locally. We've refused to, at least the east coast of Australia has put in the sin bin at all amateur level of the game, Sunday. We've only implemented it under 18s and less, juniors, Sunday morning for low-level descent. So if you flap your arms and, help, Phil, that's a bloody stupid decision, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, go in the sin bin, have a chat, have a rest, and you can't be replaced. So the sin bin is here, but we're the only state at the moment that chooses not to issue it in amateur Sunday football. FIFA won't allow it in – they're trialling it, but they won't allow it in professional or like Saturday type football. But community football they do. So it's like a bottom up as opposed to AFL went top down.
So whenever you see those signs when you go to grounds and the social media posts about respect the referee, this is not an international game, this is a local game.
We're volunteers here.
We're volunteers. We've all seen them. That's had a negligible, if zero, impact.
Some clubs are outstanding. Some clubs promote it. Some clubs punish parents. Some clubs act quite quickly. Some clubs don't care. But at the end of the day, it's just a sign. Yes, we got respect on our sleeves and all that sort of stuff, but go to any local league where there's a junior referee. Even the junior referees, the first years wear a green top, which signify they're a first-year referee. Therefore, cut some slack, everybody.
Yep.
And the ground marshals are supposed to monitor that with the parents and stuff like that. And the coaches are supposed to all know these are green referee. He's a first year, therefore careful.
So it's up to the clubs, isn't it, really, to educate their players, their coaches, their parents or supporters.
But if
you
you
want the club to educate and enforce.
Yes. But if you want to make an indent, if you want to make a dent in the system, do it at EPL. Do it at the biggest worldwide coverage. When you see a player run up to a referee and go, "You're an effing bloody," boom, that player's worth $100 million, and you go, boom, red card, get lost. Are we prepared to do that? FIFA's not prepared to do that. FIFA's not prepared to take that stand because that $100 million player is out of action for a week. Not good for TV, not good for money.
No.
So are we prepared to as a code? We're not. Should we? We just don't have the castañas. When I say that, I'm allowed to say that?
Yeah, well, sure. They're castañas, they grow on trees.
That's right. That's right. So that's what we've got to do. If you really want to if you want to help it at junior level, the top level's got to do it.
How much communication is happening between referees during a game?
Some love a chat. I prefer not to chat. What are we chatting about? What are we explaining? We're not there to explain. So we touched on it before. It's just I'm not sure what we're trying to get.
No, I mean in between, say, with futsal as an example, like I at Superliga and at Pro Futsal, I believe they used to be, they're all mic'd up and they're talking to each other. Are they talking to each other quite a lot? Is it just about the game?
Yeah. Again, that depends on the main referee. In futsal, it's 1 and 2.
Yep.
If his instructions are, I want this information, I want to talk about this, or this is how we're going to conduct the game, that's different. But outdoors, very similar. Some want to talk about things. For instance, I had one, he denied a penalty claim And as he was running up, there's the counter attack happened. He'd go, Phil, what do you reckon? Do you think that was a pen? And I went, no, get on with the game.
Mm.
Now, at the end of the game, I said to him, I was going to lie to you regardless.
Because you missed it.
No. Well, he chose not to give it.
Mm.
So whether that was his decision, he was just asking, what do you think? But if I said to him, no, you should have given it, now for the next 30 seconds, if not the rest of the half, he's going, oh, bloody hell, I made a mistake and what's going to happen and should I give the next one? Yeah. So I just lied and went, good call, let's move on.
Yep.
We'll deal with this after the game. And that's what I told him. I said, I'm here to support you, not crucify you. If we're going to go down, we'll go down together. But I'm not going to throw you under the bus while you're refereeing and the game's transitioning to a counter-attack. I go, there's no way I'm going to challenge you now. If the ball went out for a corner and you asked my opinion, now we've got time.
Yep.
Well, I'd maybe say, come here, come over, talk to me, come away from the players, we'll have a chat. Then we can da-da-da, yes, give it, yes, not give it, whatever. Yep. But during the game, nah. But talking to players, look, there's times when you do talk to a player. Like, Jose, you've run around, you've kicked a couple of people so far.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So the ball's gone out of play.
No, it's not right.
And I'd take that opportunity to come up next to you and go, Jose,
take it easy.
Pull your head in. That's 2. Either the next one, I've got to caution you. No matter how soft it is, you've done 3 now on the same player. So you got an issue with him. So pull your head in or make the next one worthwhile because you're getting cautioned no matter what happens. So,
I've got a question. You said you're there to go down with the ship, but do referees, and I have personally seen this, do referees disagree in a game? And does it, like, how does that get dealt with?
Look, should they disagree openly? No. And unfortunately, the nature of refereeing is you've got egos. And you've got to have a pretty strong ego to be a referee. You're in the middle, you got the power, you got all of that going for you. And now when you're dealing with a second referee, like futsal, outdoors a little bit less dramatic because you've got assistants, they're running the line. But futsal's a different call. And you're both entitled to make the same call, but the number one referee is entitled to override your call as per the laws of the game. So you could call it, you can go, boom, boom, no, it's this way. Sorry, Jose, I'm not following you. That should be very rare and it should be blatantly obvious to everyone you've made an error. But you should never go against that guy. Either you go down together swinging or not, unless there's a clear misrepresentation of the law or misinterpretation of the law, or he's got the law wrong completely, where there is a defender on the goal line, but he sent the guy off for denying a goal-scoring opportunity, but he didn't see the other guy on the goal line. Yeah. Then as a first referee, you go, hang on a minute, Jose, come here. Yeah. Did you not see him? Because that's not part of – he go, yeah, but it was the last man sort of thing. I go, well, no, it wasn't because this guy was just behind the pole and you didn't see him. So should they argue? The lower level you go, the more you'll see that flare up. They're different levels, different experience, different egos. They could have something going on in the background. Shouldn't.
But it happens.
But it does happen.
Technology, has it changed your job locally? And obviously it's had an impact globally with VAR, et cetera.
Yeah.
But
locally, communications is what quite a few of the guys have now become affordable at $300 or $400 for a set of 4. So it's actually not bad. It works. It does work well. So that's good. The VAR, I'm still a fan of the VAR. Its implementation has been rocky, but it's gotten better and it will get better and it'll become more faster. And FIFA's toying with a couple of things like, e.g. the offside. They're looking now to consider a visual gap between players. So there has to be, so that means your body can be offside, but there has to be a gap, a visual gap between this, whatever you can score with. That's what it generally is.
Okay.
So, if he's that much offside, does it really make a difference? No. But if his foot is past your foot, or maybe yes.
Yes.
So they're toying with that gap, that opening between the players, a visual gap. They're toying with that. So there's a few things going on. I like it, again, to be used for, once you go into the protocols, again, most people don't know the protocols. Why does it take so long? Well, if you're playing, just say Barcelona, they've passed the ball 40 times before that goal got scored. Now, that goal's got to be checked. Now, that ball has to be checked back to the last time it went out of play. And that could be 2.5 minutes ago.
Wow. Okay.
Because they had 60 passes before they scored.
Yeah, 40's not. Yeah.
So we have to make sure that there was no foul, that the ball was never out of play, that there was no infringement of a law somewhere until the ball goes in the goal. So it takes a while sometimes.
Fair
and
enough.
all goals have to be checked. Again, that's the protocol. All goals have to be checked for offside and fouls between the last movement and that. That's why there's a pause, just in case. So is it a good thing? Yes, it is. Have they had some human errors implementing it? Absolutely. And some glaring ones in the EPL, but that's just the EPL. There's been, in the Turkish leagues, I've seen heaps. So there's stuff all over the world where it's been shambles and they've got it wrong, because there are quite a few fingers in the pie. And then the guy in the video room, let's say, okay, Jose, this is your second A-League game. And I've been doing the A-League for the last 15 years. I'm now retired. I'm in the VAR room. Something happens on the field and I go, Jose, you need to come and check. You need to come and look at the video, because I think you need to come and look at the video. Now, I've got 400 A-League games behind me. You got 2. Is my ego going to be bigger than your ego? Are you going to be going, oh, geez, Phil knows a lot more than me. He's been around a lot longer than me, but you know what you saw. And when I go up there, do I challenge him and go, thanks, Phil, but I'm overriding you, which you can.
Yep. Or,
well, his interpretation of the law is better than mine because he's been doing it longer, and you bite the bullet. So this is what people don't see, and that's happened in the EPL. There's a unwritten ego thing going on here that, if I go against him, he's got 400 games and I've got 20.
This is subjective, the grey areas. There's just so many.
He's interpreted that angle of that slot, that foot hitting the shin, because the law says if it hits the shin, it's a red card with excessive force. If it hits the ankle, it's a yellow card because it's a lower contact. But what happens if it's on the ankle-y shin bit? But the referee felt the contact, you know what I mean? He was there and you go, ooh. But the VAR guys go, no, tackle was on the shin, yellow card. And you're going, oh, no, I saw it in his eyeball. That he was like that. Jose was like that. Boom. The old Jose came to the front and he's nailed that guy. He's taken off from 10 metres away with a straight leg. So, see what I mean? If you can take the human element out of it, it's even better.
You mentioned shins. I'm going to ask you about shin pads, because I know you're very passionate about shin pads.
Very passionate.
Now, we have at the Wolves a player which turns up to games, shin pads that look like, well, they are the size of guitar picks.
Yep.
Now, she gets away with it most times.
Yep.
But whenever you're present, I've always got the spare pair of shin pads in the box. What's your opinion on shin pads?
Okay. I don't have an opinion. I have the law.
Oh, I like that. That's good.
Up until last year, prior to last year, the shin guards had to be of reasonable material and provide a reasonable amount of protection. Up to the referee to decide. So I had to work out what's reasonable. And I'd look at some shin guards and go, well, those little ones, the toothpicks that you said of, and a couple of players are actually cutting their bigger shin guards in half. They cut them off with scissors so they can roll their socks down so they look cool because of Jack Grealish. He started all this.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, so up until last year, they said reasonable protection, and I was the sole determiner of that. And I could go, I don't think that's reasonable, change. You don't have a leg to stand on at all because it's my –
Pardon the pun.
yes, and it's my determination of what's reasonable. Now, this year, start of this year, winter season in Europe started last year, but anyway, this year for us in Australia, they removed that from the law. The player is now responsible for the shin guard and the level of protection it provides. Therefore, the referee just has to ensure that the shin guard is covered by the sock.
So a shin guard.
And what it's made out of and what it is and what level of protection and what's reasonable is up to the player.
Wow.
He's responsible for his safety.
Or she.
They are.
So the guitar pick is okay now.
Now, maybe it's just me, but at a particular state league reserves game just maybe 3 weeks ago, I looked at a player and he had this little round thing, maybe slightly bigger than a 50-cent piece. Cut it. And I go, you got shin guards? He goes, yes. I go, I need to look at this just to make me feel better. He took out a piece of cardboard. He cut in a circle. Now, in the very beginning of the law book, before it talks about any of the actual laws, it talks about the spirit of the game. That the Rule 19 is the spirit. Everything that's got to do with the spirit of the game, how it's played, how you conduct yourself, how you're perceived to other people, how people perceive you, what it looks like on TV. It's the spirit of the game. Now, I look at that and I went, mate, you're disrespecting all the other players by showing that you just don't have to have anything that's even remotely close to acceptable. So I said, you need to find some. I said, sorry, that's being disrespectful to the game. I appreciate you'll have to look after yourself, but some player's going to tackle you and you're going to show me 2 shin drag marks down your shin. And you go, look at that, ref. And I go, well, a shin guard would have solved that.
Yep.
Not a piece of cardboard. So the spirit of what you're doing is disrespecting these other 22 players. Find him. He walks in, comes out with 2 shin guards on. So he had them there just in case. So again, what he's trying, the spirit of what he's doing is not right. That's how I interpret it. Other referees would have gone, don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. But when it comes to covering them up, the law's very clear. It's got to be covered by the sock. So what they do, players then, they roll it about 1 millimetre above their shin guards. And then the first tackle, you see the shin guard because they think it looks cool. That's why they do it. They have it. They tape their shin guard. Their sock is halfway up the shin guard and the rest of it's showing because it looks cool. Looks trendy, looks cool. It's just a thing that players do. And I just go, no thanks. The law's there. Now, if I'm assessing a referee, part of the assessment is details of the game, and that's a detail of the game.
Yep.
The law says shin guard's got to be covered. Jose, number 3 and number 4 haven't got them covered. I mark you down. Sorry, for details, I don't give you a 5, I give you a 4. Because that was one aspect of the game. You told him twice, it came down twice, you did nothing. You should have just told him to get off the field to play, fix it before you come back on. Do something, because that's what I'm assessing you on. I'm assessing you on the laws of the game. If they say they can be uncovered, no problem. But until it's changed, that's a problem. Now, I've had players that me go, yeah, but my sock keeps falling down. I go, we've lived with tape for like 100 years. Tape them up. And that's the same thing with jewellery.
Yeah.
Jewellery is a big thing, but the big one here is the religious significance of things. So if you want to get a bit controversial. Ref, it's religious. And I go, look, when you go to the World Cup, a lot of different nationalities, no one has got loose wristbands on. None. Because FIFA just says, we're not concerned about religion. Tape it, because they allow taping at that level in their rules of competition. They allow taping. The EPL, for instance, allows you to tape rings or earrings because their rules of competition allow it. FIFA rules say no, all got to be out. But if your rules of competition allow taping, they tape.
Yep.
Australia follows FIFA. WA definitely follows FIFA and says no. Now, some referees are flexible. When you play Masters, they're all got too much weight on. Their rings have welded to their fingers. They can't take them off around their fat little fingers. So, you know what I mean? There's not much you can do. So there's got to be some socially you can adjust. But when someone throws religion in your face and expecting you to crumble, I said, well, either tape it or take it off. Because if someone's finger gets caught underneath and they dislocate their finger, and it happens.
Yep. Or necklaces as well.
Or necklaces, that sort of stuff. Even some of the girls, you've seen some of the girls, they've got these huge nails. They even got their fake nails on. And I go, you know, in the eye, netball, they want them all cut, all taped up, every single nail. My daughter used to umpire netball. But I've seen maybe even some of your girls with big, long, fake nails. I go, you know, when they grab someone, they could
do some damage.
They can do some damage.
All right. Question. This is a futsal related one. All right. We're working through. Now, we've had this conversation before, and I think.
Did you win or did I win?
No. Listen, you're always going to win. I'm just asking. Fixos and targets, two players leaning up against each other, fighting for position. You know, in this situation here that I've presented, targets obviously backing up against the fixo. Fixo's doing everything he possibly can to hold his position.
Yeah.
What level of pushing, pulling force can be used before you say, hey, someone's going to get a free kick here?
So the law says both players are entitled to their position on the court. That's what the law says. So I'm entitled to stand there and you're entitled to stand in the same spot. So now we jostle for it. Where do you go from there? What is it? So now we're looking for the next element is you watch their feet. Let's go down to feet. Feet don't lie. If you're backing in, your foot's going back. Even though you go, mate, stop doing that. He goes, what? I'm not doing anything. I go, I'm watching your feet. Your feet can't lie. If they're going backwards, you're going backwards. Yes. You're pushing. If he's standing still, you're pushing. If you're leaning and nothing's moving, he's leaning and nothing's moving, you're jostling.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. Now we go to start moving up. Whose hands are where? Is the defender got his hands out to the side, like corralling the striker left or right, which they do. They get taught, they get coached by people like you. They go, put your hands out.
I don't coach that. I coach my fixos to give the attacking players as minimal physical cues as possible. And when you have your arms around someone, they know exactly where you are.
Yeah, and you're right.
Yeah.
And you're right. So you got the cue. You got coaches who teach just hold their back or just have their hands so you actually can feel their movement.
Yep.
If they're going to go left or right, I appreciate that. No problem. The striker might have their hands nearly around your hips as they're holding. They may be feeling you going around them left or right. They want to know which way your body's trying to get a toe into the ball ahead of them so they can feel your body move. Both are a problem from a referee's point of view because now you're using your hands to control the other player. So where do you go from there? The ball gets played and you just got to judge, has someone pushed, someone pulled, someone held? If they're both holding, play on. I don't know who's holding first. You're both holding as much as each other. I can't pick it, play on. Because both are trying to do the same thing. The striker's holding, defender's holding. And your players will go, ref, he's holding. I go, yeah, but which one?
I've got a question for you. Oh, look, targets traditionally are quite big players, strong players. Although fixos now globally are, they're getting bigger and stronger. But what if one player is just stronger than the other, all right? Or let's just say, as an example, the fixo, he knows how to play the referee, manipulate the referee, and backs off and doesn't exert the pressure, which cancels out the jostling. And you can clearly see, hang on, that target's pushing that fixo back, so it's a free kick for the fixo. But that can obviously be manipulated. How do you decide that?
Okay.
Like what's the line there?
It's at open football, men's open football. You can't take a height weight difference. You can't bring that into account. It's open senior football. You're smaller, he's bigger, he's stronger. If he leans into you, he's got 30 kilos on you. He's got 20 kilos on you. He leans, you haven't got the torque to shift him. So you back into him and you collapse. You go, well, play on. It just doesn't work mathematically. Now, if the big fella, you can see him step into it and push, then his torque will have an impact. So the likelihood of that being a foul is probably there. But now the little guy might be playing that. Step back and fall down. So you've got to be aware of that. So that's now experience. That's now a judgment call. Less experience, see one guy fall down and a big guy standing there, he's been sucked in. Have I given that before? Yes, I have. Has the big guy gone, oh, come on, Phil, he just fell down? I say, yeah.
I'm thinking of specific moments.
Yeah. So I go, yes, that's probably happened. But I think you made enough contact. It was a reckless contact. You didn't use excessive force. It was careless contact. Reckless is a yellow. Careless is play on. No, careless is a free kick, but no yellow card. So does that happen? Yes. Now, did the guy go down really softly? Then that's where your communication to that player going down goes, hey, next time, don't go down as easy. This is senior football now.
Yep.
Don't give me that next time because you won't get it next time. So that's okay.
You got it. But
benefit of the doubt, but we got an issue because now we've got to placate the big bloke because he's going, Phil, come on. And I go, fair enough. There was enough in it. It just pushed me that way. But you're not getting the next one. Get on your feet. Now, if it's junior, younger 15, 16, 14-year-olds, now you've got a 15-year-old who's 6'3" and a 15-year-old who's 10 kilos and 4 foot. Now you've got a safety issue. Now it's junior football, it's social football. You've got a safety issue factor here. The bigger, older kid, he's not mature as a senior player. He's not mature. He's now probably been bullying kids around for the last 4 years because he's big and he's never had a problem and he's the best player in the world. But as soon as that kid gets to 17 years old, everyone else is going to catch up. He'll get nailed and he'll probably stop playing because he's never been hit before in his life. So now there's an element of care when you go junior because they grow at different. When you get to adult, you're all adults now. So your weight and difference is not going to become it's so less of a factor than you are at junior level. That's how it should be.
Interesting. What rule, futsal or football, would you change if you could?
What did we mention before? I think it was the outdoor one. The outdoor one was sin bin.
Sin bin.
Yeah. Because I want to remove the grey area, which everyone hates. Players, everyone. We could introduce that we sort of have that with futsal, with the 5 foul thing. But what else with futsal? With futsal, denying a goal-scoring opportunity, as in last man, as we sort of, the colloquial term for it, is really complicated because it involves a number of defenders and where they are. And because the court is so small, a counter-attack is like nearly a goal-scoring opportunity instantly. So a last man scenario is nearly instant. So I don't know if it's changed in the last year or so, but it's been FIFA's introduced the goalkeeper being outside of his goal and not inside of his goal, being active and not active. And that determines when there is a last man scenario and goal scoring opportunity scenario. So it's complicated. Is the goal being guarded is the term they used. And when he's inside the goal, he's guarding the goal. The minute he steps outside the goal is now deemed unguarded. And now there's a number of factors when it gets involved. And that's why I'd love to get cleared up. But it's very complicated. It also goes to do with number of defenders. Is there more attackers than defenders? And in 1 second, you can have those numbers change.
Yes.
In front of you, in front of your eyes. If they if they make an attempt to play the ball, even if they're the last man, as long as they when I was doing it a year ago, as long as they attempt to play the ball, and that can be grey, then even if they are the last defender, it's a yellow card free kick. If they push, pull, or hold, it's a red card because there's no attempt to play the ball if you push, pull, or hold. But if they throw a leg out, we can interpret that as just a foul. And that's really, I think that's harsh because that can be manipulated really fast.
Yes.
So denying a goal scoring opportunity is I like that cleared up because it is debatable.
Referee education. So we talk about coach education quite a lot. So can you describe the referee education that's in place at the moment?
Yeah, look, in WA, we've only got two people who run the refereeing department, and that's disappointing. They're under-resourced, overburdened, and it makes it difficult to run genuine. We have a coaching night every month for people who want to attend, but we only get about 80 people out of 400 who turn up. We could have used technology and send out information, send out coaching information, but again, they're overworked, understaffed. I know Vic Federation have got a few more people in their department, and they've sent out a few more stuff to their people. New South Wales does not a bad job. Queensland does not a bad job. So we need to put some pressure here on our hierarchy to increase our resources. So we'll see. So it's disappointing, but we just not prepared to spend the money or resources or however you want to dictate it, the budget. So I'd love to see that. So I've joined the referees standing committee this year.
Oh, excellent.
Not that it's got any big deal about it, but maybe we can push some buttons.
In general, though, coach, referee education, there's obviously a system in place.
Yeah, look, you can go get your levels 4, 3, 2, 1, and you go sit the courses, you do the tests, you get the book, but then after that, once you've gone through that process, then it's a matter of really keeping up to date yourself. Is
that through an online platform?
Not even an online platform. No. So it's disappointing. Even FFA, while they create modules and stuff where you can go increase your courses, you can increase your levels, but they're few and far between as well, and a little bit difficult to navigate. We used to do it all in-house here, but FFA has centralised it. So not making it easier, and as a result, our young kids, we endeavour to give young kids mentors. So that's sort of in place now. So I might look after 3 or 4 new ones that they can ring me. That's sort of the idea. Ring me up on a Sunday night. How'd you go? What'd you do? What'd you experience? That sort of stuff. I've gone out and assessed some juniors from time to time, and that's okay. It's just a matter of being a presence there, that they have someone turn up from the federation, but we don't have enough of me type of people. We've only got about half a dozen of us that can do it. And we've got through 200 new kids. You got no chance. So it's a struggle. And that's why we've got 150, 200 games a week not covered with referees. junior type games. Junior and, Sunday afternoon type games. So that's... So
There's a shortage of referees and a shortage of resources.
So not just us. I mean, all games, basketball, hockey, footy.
Oh, yes.
You know, everyone struggles with that person. But it's like I said, it's good money. It's good money. There's a level of maturity there that the kids get out of it. They do grow quickly. I've watched young kids become 6 foot tall once they put the badge on, once they know the power of the badge when they've got a game going. And they go, yeah, but like one kid down here at Coburn, I remember, the crowd sort of creeps up to the edge of the line and the linesman can't see the ball go in and out of play and no one's listening to the linesman. And so this kid, and I go to the young fella, I just go, look, just stop. When the game stops, stop the game. Then just ask everyone, and we're talking 40 mums and dads, just say, excuse me, can everyone move back 5 steps, thanks? He goes, yeah, but what happens if they don't? I go, well, the game doesn't start. It's that simple. That's the power of your little badge there. You're only 14, but you watch. And eventually he took the courage, and I'm there in the background just egging him on, and he stopped the game and he goes, can everyone go back 5 because he can't see the line? And all his parents march back 4 or 5 steps. He goes, whoa, how good's that? Yeah. I go, it's that simple. And he grew, a little kid, he's gone, oh. I asked politely and they moved. I go, yeah, well, the badge was there and that's what dictates. If they don't, take your money and go home. Abandon the game. I'll be the right. I'll back you. They refuse to move, leave. Put in a report. They get fined. You got your money. Move on. So...
All right. Now we're talking about...
But we need more girls. We've only got 6 girls.
No way. 6 girl referees.
The pathway to FIFA badge for a girl in Western Australia is really, really good.
So what do we do? How do we get more girls involved?
Beg, borrow, steal. If you're competent, fit, prepared to learn, enjoy it, there's a real short pathway to A-League, Women's A-League, NPL, because there's none there. We've got half a dozen that are trying and doing okay, but if we had 60, that would be outstanding.
Okay.
But they just don't want women aren't encouraged, or are they discouraged, or they don't like the aggression, or they don't like the grief. But I beg, I really do. When I'm refereeing, if I do a women's game, I go, can someone step up, please? Because the opportunity is the brass ring is standing right there if you're competent. There's a short pathway, and because there's not many people doing it, not many women want to do it.
You heard it first on the podcast. Well, that's a very interesting topic, and we'll have to come back to that at a later stage in another podcast. That's a big one. Next topic. Pathways and opportunities for referees nationally and internationally.
Well, with the advent of the A-League, the advent of a couple of people, namely probably Eddie Leddy, Matthew Cheeseman, who are ex-Perth, who are now really involved in the A-League. Australia's seen to be reasonably competent in developing referees of a good standard. So we've now got, I think, 4 or 5 guys with FIFA badges. So is there a pathway? Yes. You're only playing at NPL level, you've got 10 games a week. At A-League level, you've got about the same. So is it a small playing field at the top? Yes, it is. But that's like any other thing you do in your life. There's a small level that want to get to the top. in a certain level get there, and the ones that don't claim it's politics.
How about though? How about like like nationals as an example?
Mm.
So like obviously the futsal nationals that were held in January. I know referees were sort of sent. I don't think WA sent any, but there are referees that are sent from various states to go and help. Or recently, you travelled to Bali for a competition.
Yep.
Like, are there many opportunities like that?
No, the nationals are about the only one, but that's for younger academy type referees, 18, 19-year-olds, outdoor. That I've seen.
Outdoor, yes.
Futsal, because they're a bit more limited, I think there's a bit older the referees that are going there.
Oh yes, yes. The referees at the nationals, actually, I'll discuss them in my in my finishing bit because they were amazing.
So, but then that's the state of futsal, because maybe they don't have for nationals. Have they not got a young elite type of group of younger referees that are promoted that way? For them to be dipping into 40-year-old plus or 50-year-old plus.
Oh no, these referees, they were. Obviously, it's hard to say. I didn't ask them their ages, but between 25 and 40, they were in their peak.
Yeah. Oh, then good.
Oh, they were peaking.
Then that's fantastic. Jeez. And if they're impressive, they're doing all their runs up and down.
Oh, I'm going to talk about them at a later stage of this podcast.
Oh, that's good. No, well, that's in a good way.
In a really good way.
Yeah. So, really again, your what you see there, I mean, what you see here we just don't have the pool here. And so you've got people like myself, 55, 59, refereeing at this level, and not as mobile, not as agile, maybe very keen, but I know most of the guys here and they've been around a long time and they know they're not pushed because there's no one pushing. So standards drop, which is very common. Standards drop because no one's pushing, which is sad. But then we don't have much. I don't think we've got any development here in WA.
See, development's important. Well, for me, travelling, like again, I always say when it comes to, teams travelling to, like I said, to national, international tournaments, and you get to gain a different perspective of the levels that are out there. I mean, we discussed the refereeing levels were very different, but also just the technical abilities of some of these teams and the professionalism and how they conduct themselves and their set pieces and their so you get to see a different level. And I think with referees, when you do travel, you do get to see what's out there. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, it can be good, it can be bad, but you do get a different perspective.
Referees, you've seen them at nationals. They're exposed to a bigger population base, more players, better players. Better players do different things. So you don't know what you don't know if you don't see it. So if you're not exposed to it, you can't predict it, anticipate it, be prepared for it. And that's a big deal. That's why Australia's A-League referees see what they see, but they're not exposed to South American or Spanish players and people doing wonderful things. And if you're not exposed to it, therefore it's a shock to the system. You're not anticipating, not preparing. You're not thinking the way they're thinking because you've never seen it. Therefore, you're not experienced it. Therefore, you probably might suffocate them because you won't allow something to happen, but they're already thinking 2 steps ahead, the players. But you're a referee, you can't see it because you've never seen it. And therefore, you're stopping things from happening and they're going, what are you doing? Why are you involved? We want this guy, and one is the 5 metre rule in futsal. And people get upset. They go, "Oh, you got to get him back 5 metres." And I go, "Hang on a minute. The player on the ball is going to dictate to me what he wants. He may want him to be 2 metres away because he sees something beyond that player where one of his players are going to, and by him being this close, then means he can pass it, and then this guy, the guy who plays it, simply has 2 metres to get around him, and then he'll pass and get a 1-2. So he wants him to be a bit closer. He doesn't want him 5 metres away because that he's now filling a space behind him. where my guy can't get into. So as a referee, you're anticipating what's he looking at and can I see the same thing? Therefore, I'll allow him to get close because he's looking at this thing that's going on behind him. Everyone else is screaming at me going, "Ref, 5 meters, ref!" And I'm going, well, I'm caring what the guy on the ball is doing.
Yep.
And if he doesn't want 5 meters, I don't care what anyone else is saying. I'm only listening to him because he could see something that I can see too. And if he turns around and goes, "Ref, I want 5." All right, no problem. But you're on the 4-second count. Let's hurry up.
Yep.
That's the difference. When you maybe you're at the nationals, you see that level of anticipation, which is great, which is brilliant. But frustrates the guys who have never witnessed it. Now imagine if you go to Spain now and watch their futsal. Now it blows your mind. And the involvement of the referees and what they let go and not let go because their players are so good, they will roll on the floor, take a tumble, and they're up and they're off.
Yeah, that's actually true.
So anyway, go.
Next question. MVP voting. Now, obviously there are some competitions where there are teams of the week or MVPs.
Yep.
Every competition has, obviously awards that they give out to the players and there are voting systems. And it was actually pointed out to me in a general meeting where it was highlighted that referees play a big part in the voting system, and that usually, and I wasn't aware of this, maybe you can confirm this or deny this, that because they are so busy refereeing the game and, like you said, looking at players' movements and their feet and God knows what's happening, right, that they don't really notice, or they may have a bit of a biased opinion on who gets the votes based on, at the end of the game, they look at their score sheet. Oh, geez, this player's got 3 goals, 2 assists, or whatever the case may be, and that's where the votes go.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I was made aware of that. It was a genuine surprise to me. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Look, again, it comes down, there's an element of maybe blaseness that, some referees might have. Who got 3 goals? Who got 2 goals for the other team? Give him 3, him 2, and 1 to one of the goalkeepers because they probably did something. So a bit lackadaisical because it's easy. Most of us use a yellow card sort of scenario. If someone's cautioned, are they the most valuable player or the best and fairest? If they've got a yellow card, if it's for a tackle or something, maybe they're not the best and fairest. If it's for a technical infringement, maybe they could still get some points. But there's no rhyme or reasoning. There's no set of rules you got to follow. Again, it's an experience thing. If you take it seriously, you genuinely look back. I would say my personal tendency is with maybe 10 minutes to go in a game, I will make my scoring now, and that's assuming none of them get sent off. But I would go, right, 10 minutes to go, I'd probably write on my hand the white team, number 3, blue team, number 4, that's 3, 2, 1. And I'd do that based on how they've played and maybe their impact on their game, their attitude. Are they the best and fairest? What does that mean? What's the definition of best and fairest? Are they the best and the fairest? Did they do the right thing? Did they have an impact on the game? So you try to, because I don't want that decision coming in the last 10 minutes because now the game could get heated up. 2-1, 1-0, and now I'm running around thinking best and fairest. Not interested. This is game time now. The last 15 is game time. So we need to focus. Or you allocate that to one of the other referees. So one of my linesmen or referee number 2, they go, right, you're taking care of votes. Give it to him or give it to one of the linesmen. You guys organise votes yourself. They've got more of a time to analyse when we're going from moment to moment. So that's sort of my bias towards voting. You want to put a little bit of time into it and try to do the right thing. Many probably just go exactly the way you said. Who did that? Who scored the most goals? Yeah, he probably had an impact. I mean, a good example is you had him on a few weeks ago, whenever it was, Nesta. So I said to Nesta one day, I go, Nesta, I was refereeing you, and you had, in the first half, you had 28 touches or something, give or take 25 touches. I go, did you know every single one of those passes went to someone? Did you know you had a 100% pass rate? You never gave the ball. It might have only been a metre or 2 metres, left, right, back, front. You never gave the ball up to anyone at all. And he was shocked. He goes, I'm surprised you see that. I said, well, that's what I see. That's what I see the best do. That's what I see the elite do. Now imagine if you had 4 of you not giving the ball away, ever. You'll be scary. And he goes, I didn't even know you look at the game that way. I said, but that keeps my focus. As a referee, you're so in tune with the game, you're going, 1, 2, he's not giving away. He's not, he's impressive. He's impressive. Look at the way this guy's turned 4 people. So that's your engagement. Now, would some guys not care about that? Maybe. Couldn't give a damn if Nesta gave it away or not. But it depends on your passion, of your level of involvement, and what are you looking for in players. And he's just one that is exceptional like that. And game to game to game to game.
Very consistent.
All these simple passes, but you go, they all add up to something. He never gives it away. And is he worth 3 votes sometimes? Absolutely. He never gave it away. He created all this cross and goal. But where did it come from? That pass. No, that pass.
He was involved in the build-up.
He's pulling strings like a puppeteer.
Maybe didn't get the goals,
but he's got no involvement in the assist goal. But it's his puppeteering it here. He's calling the shots, and you've probably seen it. And it's so gentle and subtle. It's no flair. It's nothing outrageous. Just give and go, give and go. The simplicity makes
it look simple. It's not simple, but he makes it look simple. That's for
right.
sure.
Anyway.
Okay. How do you wind down after a game?
So as a player, you would. It is very hard. Wind down.
As a referee, I know as a coach, I know if I win a game, I'm turning the music on. I'm in a good mood. If we've lost a game, or even if we've won the game and we haven't performed well, or I'm not happy about a particular moment, that's it. I'm not sleeping that night. I'm tossing and turning. So how do you, as a referee, wind down after a game?
The referees, if you've kept all the players on the park, the results happened, nothing you've done influenced the outcome of the game astronomically, like you sent the wrong guy off or gave a pen, it wasn't a pen, and that upset the apple cart and someone won 1-0 because of that poor decision. If those things didn't happen, go to sleep like a baby. They do happen, you're going, oh, God, there's going to be some social media crap going on. Someone's going to complain to Football West. This guy doesn't know what he's doing, and you might get a tap on the shoulder. Can you ever please explain? Which is rare. Most clubs normally complain Monday morning. The losing ones complain about something. They get an influx of complaints over refereeing and stuff like that. Monday mornings, a squadillion emails complaining about the referee. But once again, at the very start of this, I said if they knew the laws better, they might have a leg to stand on. Referees should know the laws better, but the clubs don't know any. That's what's frustrating. And then they complain. So, wind down, yes. It's just, if you love it and are committed to it, your winding down is harder.
Yes.
Because you're upset with it. Because you made a mistake, or you didn't do something, or you did do something. So you're frustrated and you're annoyed and you go, oh, my God, I may not get a game next week. And because you're worried about it. If you don't care, you don't care.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
You probably will sleep.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, that definitely happens to me. Even when we win, if there's something that I'm not happy about, it's, because you care.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to become a referee?
Well, do as many games as possible. When I was playing, I'd play under 16s, under 14s, then sit on the bench. On Saturday, go sit on the bench for the reserves when I was younger. Didn't get a game, just sat on the bench. They needed a second keeper, but you're involved. So play in as many games as you can. Referee as many games as you can. I'm not a huge fan of the way we teach referees here because the younger referees aren't exposed to a lot more games. They should be exposed to a lot more games. Do one on the Saturday and do 2 or 3 on Sunday at a lower level because you've got to build up your catalogue of experiences and your catalogue of fouls. Like if you imagine a library in your head,
yep,
and if you're only exposed to Saturday football at the elite level, you're only exposed to about 20 fouls a game. Rarely going to get someone sent off because players are serious at that level. And they're quite respectful at that level. But you only see 20 fouls. If you're doing one game a week and you're seeing 20 fouls, what knowledge are you building? That's 20 games, 25 games a year, 500 fouls. That's it. If you do another game on Sunday at any adult level, there's probably another 30 fouls. Now you've doubled it. Now you're 1,000 fouls in your brain. If you do 3 or 4 games on a Sunday, you're now 2,000 fouls a year. And then you create, this is where experience begins. Then you've got fouls to compare. Then you start putting them in boxes. Then you get your training and you go, well, that's a play on and that's a foul and that's a yellow and that's red and that's orange. That's in the middle. And if it's orange, you grade it down to a yellow. You don't want to go red if you can avoid it. Again, that's part of a learning, which is debatable. But yes, from a referee point of view, you got to love it. Do as many games as possible.
Good advice, and I like that catalogue of experiences. Now, where can listeners learn more about refereeing? Who should they contact?
Adrian Leckie at Football West. That's our go-to person. Dave Avison is also Football West go-to. He's the referee manager, and Adrian Leckie is the referee coordinator, and Hayden Blaw, which is the Sunday Amateur League coordinator as well. So they're the 3 guys. It's all on the website at Football West under resources, refereeing resources, education, and a whole pile of other things. It's on their main website.
Brilliant. And we're looking for more girls.
And we're desperately looking for some more girls.
If you could wave a magic wand, and I think I know what the answer is going to be, where would you love to see refereeing in WA in the near future?
If we could double our numbers, that would be outstanding. We've got 150 games a week, social Sunday football not getting covered, which is pressure on parents, pressure on someone at the amateur clubs having to step up, and then these guys get a level of angst because they're refereeing as best they can. They don't have any training. So they're put under pressure by players who scream and yell, but they're pretty much just walking around the middle of the park doing their best. So that's painful to watch. When you're refereeing on the game, on the pitch alongside them, and you're watching the shenanigans going on over here, that's not fair. And some parent volunteers their time, put their hands, look, I'll do it. And then the expectation is they know what dog sow and spar and careless, reckless, excessive and foul throws and everything we've spoken about, they're expected to know that as soon as they got that whistle. And everyone cracks the sads. And I go, that's the desperation. Is it a money thing? I don't think it's a money thing. I think it's more of a, why should I do it? With especially football, why should I do it? Because of the angst. And even with futsal and even outdoor five-a-side and just the futsal type games, there's a level of angst that we just are not prepared to put our foot down. Get surrounded by all these people screaming at you, yelling, players coming up to you, pushing, shoving. I go, what's the point? Why do you want to do it? And if you're slightly less built, or if you're not 6'2" like me, and you're 5'6", and you've got other people who's 6 foot and they all surround you, is this worth $100?
Well, there's no other occupation where that would be accepted. Like if you worked at a cafe shop,
yeah,
and you
Yeah.
and you made a coffee that someone thought, you know what, it's not the best coffee I've had, and all of a sudden they start yelling at you
Yeah.
and pushing you, that wouldn't be acceptable.
It's an assault charge.
It's an assault charge. That's right. So there's no other situation really besides refereeing
Yeah.
where that is part
Acceptable.
of the gig. We
It's-
accept it as part of the. Well,
No.
I don't accept it, nor should we. But some people think that that's okay.
No, they're passionate.
I heard the word angst in your words, so I'm
They're
going to call it
passionate.
what it is. Passion is very. I think passion is very different to anger. But yeah, it's. All right. What's your why?
Explain me the why again. What was that why we said?
The why. Why do you do what you do? Obviously, it takes
Why?
a lot of
Okay.
preparation, a lot of effort to get there, to do it, to prepare yourself, etc., etc., etc. Why?
Why do you do it? Why? Because it's since 12 years old, it's in my DNA. Everywhere I've played football forever. If I've not played it, I've coached it, goalkeepers. If I haven't coached it, I've refereed it. I've maintained a high level all the time, as in started refereeing, how can I get to the top? Started playing soccer, how can I get to the top? Started goalkeeping, how can I get to the top? Started refereeing, I said, well, how far can I go? I'd love to have gone to A-League, but I did it too late. Started at 31, 32, that's too late. I would have been past the sort of the break-even point. Whereas in the EPL, though, because they've got a bigger pool, they can have 40-year-old plus guys in there. They've got a better pool of people to pick from. But, yeah, why do you do it? We said about 12 times tonight. You love it. And if you don't love it, you probably won't get to the top unless you're unbelievably intensely gifted. But I don't know anyone who's gotten to the top and they don't love it. You can say you work hard, but it's not working hard if you love it.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, okay, I kicked the ball against a brick wall for hours catching it as a goalkeeper. Kick, catch, because I had to catch the ball 1,000 times a night because your hands become second nature of how they catch the ball. They just the feeling of catching it becomes just instant. It becomes not even a thought pattern anymore. It's just a reflex. But you don't get that reflex if you don't enjoy doing it.
Mm.
And it doesn't mean I've got to kick it 1,000 and I'll be good, but I love doing it. If you're going to juggle as a player, you juggle the ball because you're going to try to get to 1,000 juggles or whatever up in the air one time. Not because I want to get to the top, because I want to do it 1,000 times because I love doing it. The result is I get to the top, but I'm not doing it to get, because plenty of people work hard. There's that saying, working hard and talent. There's a really good saying which says that talent succeeds when you work hard, something like that.
I think, let's see,
Come
hard
on.
work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
There it is. That comes from a gifted man. You had a ring, you had an aura around you, Christ-like when you said
Is
that.
that right? Wow. You go, I'll take your word for it, Phil.
But what one doesn't go with the other.
No, correct.
And it never will.
And repetition, there's obviously, the 10,000 hour rule, and we can go into that, but it's not just repetition, it's meaningful repetition with purpose.
Copy the best. You want a cheat sheet? Copy the best. Whatever the best is doing, copy that. And like like for instance, e.g., a good example, mathematical example is with the elite golfers of the world. I'll go down to Royal Fremantle with one of the juniors. I'll go, right, just chip 10 balls to these 5 flags and go to putt them in. Now, if you can putt 7 out of 10, you are at elite level. You are that's what the PGA do. They can chip and putt 7 out of 10, 6.8 or something. If you can do that, you're at world class. But you know how, once you get to 5 putts, you know how hard that 6 putt is? You're shaking like a leaf. I go, that's pressure.
Yep.
That's pressure. So your hard work and your repetition, you got to have pressure. You got to build pressure all the time. but copy the best. And there's a good starting point.
Agreed. What's your favourite moment? Look, I know it's always, I ask this question and I know it's hard to pinpoint one, but what's one of your favourite moments in football or futsal as a referee?
Look, for outdoor, it's representing the country. I got a record with the most games, league games in a row. Outstanding. Did cup 250 odd games. Outstanding. Represent Australia, albeit once, but I've got a tracksuit at home to prove it.
Yes.
But it is only once.
You're wearing it now, aren't
So
you?
I'm very humble. I'm very humble. So, but at one point, I represented the country. I was the best in the country for a game. So that's good. It's humbling because many people don't have that tracksuit. So that's very good. Futsal, I can't not say pro futsal. I was there when we laid down the tiles, and I was there when we closed the doors. That was a fun 8 years, whatever it was. That was excellent.
That was good.
Taking something from nothing.
I've got the blue tiles here, by the way.
You've got the blue
I don't know
tiles.
if you saw them on the way in. They're on pallets.
So, that was excellent. That was great fun. And we got to do our own little baby from a futsaling point of view. I've done nothing elite from that point. Haven't gone to nationals or anything like that. But again, I was a bit older in the scheme of things. But this was that was fun, enjoyable. Took us from nothing to nearly a 7-day enterprise. So that was outstanding. So that was very enjoyable. Got to get coached by, Chris Colley came down and he's ex-FIFA futsal. So he provided some great tuition for all of us that were there and showed us what good looks like we said before. See, copy the best.
You need to see it.
Once you see the best, then you know sort of where you're at.
Then you think twice about taking shortcuts.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what I say to my players when you've travelled and you see. I say this is why. When I ask you to do something in training, don't cut corners, don't miss that cone, don't miss that marker, add the check.
Yeah.
Make sure it's a real check. This is why.
It's all
because this is when you need it.
Yeah.
You get complacent, don't you? Once you're comfortable in your local leagues or your local surroundings, you get complacent.
And you're governed by your surroundings. And Perth is small. I mean, Melbourne, you could go referee futsal. My friend does it. He can referee 6 nights a week somewhere in Melbourne. That's how many individual sort of leagues and they're little pockets of leagues. But he goes, it's bubbling everywhere. But they got 6 million people. We got 2.
I've got to say, so we recently travelled to the Nationals. And I'll get back to those referees that I saw over there. So in Victoria at Parkerville Stadium. So I was the head coach of the women's state futsal team for WA, Football West. And we had a great tournament. It was fantastic. This episode is about referees, so I'm going to focus on the referees. But out of countless fantastic memories that I brought back from that tournament, one thing that really sticks in my mind is the level of refereeing. Yeah. It was a privilege to be able to coach in a competition that was refereed so well. Privilege for our players, and to sort of put in perspective. I mean, every game obviously had their scorekeepers.
Yeah.
The timeout. The time managers. They had a referee on each side of the court. Which is a luxury in itself. And then there was a referee in the middle of the court. And then there was another referee that was overseeing everything. And these guys are all fully mic'd up, guys and girls.
The middle of the court? No. 1-on-1.
Everywhere. The referees everywhere.
Oh, okay.
The uniforms, no faded uniforms there. These were sharp.
Yeah.
Like uniforms that, you look at them and they just looked amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The way that they conducted themselves, how professional they were. I say they didn't drop the act, right? So I know it's not an act. Obviously, they're professionals and they're doing it. But at no point in time did they drop it. They were, from the moment that they walked in, halftime was 15 minutes. They were amazing. We speak about Nesta. A conversation I had with Nesta at the Nationals was, when you see referees like that, that's something that inspires people to say, yeah, I want to be a part of that. Just the way that they communicated with each other. and like I said, how they just spoke extremely well. So that for me was a privilege to be a part of that. And for me, that's that's something that when you come back, it's like, yes, that's and we've got some wonderful referees here. We really do. I deal with them at Super League. They're fantastic referees. There's no question about that. But when you see the amount of games that were played, men's and women's and juniors, and the level did not drop.
Yeah. Well,
for 5 days.
They've had someone pushing.
It was amazing.
Someone set
truly
the bar.
Amazing. Yeah,
someone set
amazing.
the bar and demanded it.
Even filled to the point where I'll cut it after this, but timeouts called and they would literally stand in a formation, right, behind, and they had their spots and they were just it was really cool.
Yeah.
It was almost like the referees had their own futsal formation and they were constantly talking to each other, passing on information, and it was amazing. Well, Phil, I'm going to thank you now for coming in and you know, we've had a wonderful conversation. I
hope so.
I really believe we could have kept going. We really could have kept going.
Your wife has rung 12 times.
She hasn't. I did tell her I was going to be late tonight, but it's been absolutely fantastic listening to your experiences, to your insight, to your I'm going to call it passion, because that's what passion is.
Well, I hope it sounded like that. I hope
passion.
it didn't sound too
Let's not
overwhelming.
No, it was passionate. Let's not get it. So that's the difference. We talk about anger and passion and they get mixed up. No, today was passion. So, and thank you for all the refereeing that you've done. You've had a positive impact on every game that I've been a part of, that our club, Coburn Wolves, have been a part of, and that every competition that we've entered and that I've seen you in, you've had a positive impact. And I'd like to thank you for, you know, being a just and fair referee, as I'm sure everyone does their best, but you know, you've done an amazing job. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And of course, thank you to all our listeners for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, which I did, and Phil did by the sounds of it, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We've got more great conversations coming your way, so stay tuned. Until next time, vamos!